You guys know what we're doing today?
No.
What the class is?
Yeah.
You should, right? Because hopefully you did the activities. Right. So talk a little bit today about expectations. Today we're doing negotiate the deal. We have, anybody know who we're having today? For class? Robert Colello. Yeah, the guy's awesome, by the way. From New York. Well, I'll tell you his story. He's like one of my favorite people here. So I'm pretty much a lot of the agents that we have coming here are like really phenomenal, but he really is one of my favorite people here. He's just a really sharp guy that's grown his business just exponentially, just mines his database, does a lot of those activities. He just does them, right? He just does them. He's committed to it. He's not interested in success. He's committed to success. So we're going through this, guys. Like, remember, are you interested in real estate? I mean, seriously, are you committed? Right? Because interested is, I'll make my calls whenever, when I feel like it. You know. So there's a difference between being interested and being committed, right? I will succeed. I will do whatever it takes. I will make as many calls. I will knock as many doors. I will be successful. So you're interested or committed, right? So that's why we're going through this class. I assume that you guys are all committed, right? Or at least to your goals, right? Are you committed to your goals? That's really the big thing, right? Because it's a business objective of life by design. You know, maybe it's 4 deals a year, but are you committed to that? Or are you just interested in doing 4 deals a year? Make sense? All right, so let's be committed, guys. Today's expectations. Well, first of all, we're going to go over negotiation. So we're going to learn a little bit about negotiation tips, understand the most common points of negotiation. We're going to walk through the 3 Ps approach of the negotiation process. I love the 3 Ps. We're always talking about the 3 Ps. Identify negotiation tactics and counter tactics, and that's what we're going to do today. By the way, do you guys notice how I did that for 3? Do you guys know why I do that for 3?
It's okay.
It's okay. You know what I do for my first point?
What's your first?
Point number 1. Point number 2. What's this?
Peace. Okay.
Do you know why I do that?
Subconscious.
Yeah, subconscious, right? It taps into the subconscious, right? So when you go into a listing presentation and you talk about your 3 Ps, your first point, your second point, and your third point. It's just one of those subconscious things that just kind of people won't even recognize it, but it speaks to their subconscious about, it's just communication on a subconscious level, right? Because we all know that most communication actually goes on a subconscious level. Did you know that? Only so much is actually the words you say. A lot of it's actually your body language. Wouldn't you agree? That's right. All right, action reveal, page 6. Mission assignments. Did everybody do the mission?
Yes.
You guys watch the video?
Yeah.
Short video? Okay, I was testing you guys. I was just see. It was like a 30-minute video, right? Helpful though?
Yeah.
Was it older or was it like a newer video? A little bit older. By the way, so the guy David Norberg who's in there, he actually taught one of our Ignite classes. I think last time.
He's at El Cajon.
He's out of El Cajon.
Still there?
He is still there. Yeah, I think he has like his own little pop-up shop. But he made his way prospecting long time. Now he just prospects his database. He has over 1,000 people in his database, and he just prospects that. Does very well. He's the one. Did I ever tell you guys a story about that? I think I did, right? About the gas station.
Please reveal. Yeah. Again.
Review it. So I remember before I talked about an agent who said one of the ways he actually gets business is he'll always, whenever he goes to a gas station, he sees, is there anybody else at the gas station? If there is, he'll pull his car right up next to him, and it'll spark a conversation with them, and then eventually, starts asking these. He has like these 6 questions. How long you've been in the area? Do you own a home? Certain questions. He just goes and listens. He said, yeah, I usually get a deal or so a year from that. 1 or 2 deals a year, but he's constantly looking for reasons to prospect, right? So another time he pulled into his little store, but there's like a convenience store next to his, and there was somebody with like Arizona plates, and so he just started talking to them. And sure enough, they weren't moving here, but they were actually here to sell like their mother's house who just recently passed. So of course he picks up another listing, right? So when we're thinking about lead generating, guys, when we're thinking about doing our activities, don't just be confined to a particular method. right? Because methods come and go. 20 years ago, cold calling was like the thing. Now it's still great. It's just not as good as it was 20 years ago, right? So markets changed. Expireds a little while ago, 5 years ago, were awesome because there was tons of expireds. Now there's not many expireds, right? So we need to learn how to shift and move our business and always get back to the basics. So anyways, with watching that video, were there any particular ahas that you guys have with those videos?
Keep your emotions out of it. Right? Is that what?
Yeah.
Yeah, keep your emotions out of it. Why do we need to keep our emotions out of it? It could totally kill the deal.
Yeah.
People can smell desperation. Like they just sense desperation on an agent, right? Or on a lender. I mean, it could be on a lender too. I've seen agents, I've seen lenders get so tied to the paycheck or to the outcome, whatever that is, whatever the outcome is, that they'll actually lose the deal and then lose a client. So, for example, a couple years back, we had a client, awesome, some of our favorite clients, phenomenal clients. We went into escrow on a house in Poway. Great house, and I actually noticed it was like in a 500-year floodplain. Personally, I actually tried to talk them out of it. I mean, that's just the way it is, but I have an engineering background. So I just said, I'm not really talking about it, but I just said, hey, are you sure you're going to have to pay flood insurance, so on and so forth? I just want to make sure you're totally comfortable moving forward. I said, oh yeah, no big deal. We're totally good to go. I ended up doing an inspection, and then the client's father came in, didn't like the backyard, said the pool looked like it was rough, so then also they wanted to pull out. So of course I asked those tough questions just to make sure, hey, totally committed to it, right? You're totally committed to backing out. This is his great house, and doesn't look the pools are that bad. It just seems more whatever, right? Wasn't tied to the outcome, right? Because I know that serving my client is above all. You put your client's needs above your own. It's just service, right? It's great service when you put your client's need above your own. So they ended up backing out. I think the lender probably had some words with them too. He was probably bummed about losing the deal. And they took a break from buying a house for a little while. Well, sure enough, 3 months later, they gave me a call up. We ended up buying the house, a great house in Poway, even better than the one before. Needless to say, they weren't working with the lender that they were working with before. So part of me wonders, was that lender tied emotionally to that deal and therefore lost the client because of so? We did lose that deal, and now we've gotten several deals from that client because they so appreciated our service. So it's important not to be tied to the actual end result. And when you are, it actually clouds your judgment on how to actually negotiate. Does that make sense? What other ahas did you guys have from the video? Gotta be something, Scott.
The whole time I was thinking, why are these people so obsessed with the chandeliers?
It happens though. There are people who get obsessed with the chandelier. Like, it's a family heirloom.
Yeah.
Right? And they just, for whatever reason.
I was thinking more like the buyer. Just buy your chandelier in the house.
Oh, yeah. No, people get weird. Yeah, it's like, especially here in San Diego. Right? Where we have like these $1 million homes, $500,000 homes, and people get emotionally tied to, $100 item. And like that can make or break the deal.
I guess one thing that I just noticed was even though, he was very good at even though his client may have said, I'm not selling it with this, and they just said, I have to have it in order to buy it. It was just like, we'll put an offer in, we can talk it through.
Yeah.
So he was moving it forward without saying, no, they're not going to go for that.
Absolutely, right? Because sometimes what people say is not always what they mean. Or they change their mind down the road, or, they get, hey, I guess it makes sense. It's, it's a family heirloom, but maybe it's not, or no, heck no. And maybe the person's like, it's not that important to actually get it. Like whatever it is, right? I've seen it with curtains. Like really, like curtains. So.
Just a quick question.
Yeah.
Let's say you're in the middle of one of these negotiations. Have you ever personally come in and said, I'll replace that item out of your own pocket just to help the deal go through?
Yeah.
And I've heard some cases, some people do it, some do not. Has it worked for you?
Yeah, I have. Okay. So we actually had a deal years back, and this is one of those ones where I was just like, I can't believe this is happening right now. Client, we're representing to purchase the house. it's $500,000 house. They're paying for it cash. When they gave proof of funds, they had like $14 million like in their bank account. One of their many bank accounts, and the deal almost fell apart over $20. Like a furniture negotiation, a $20 furniture negotiation. Like like neither side was willing to budge. And I was like, man, you have $14 million just in this one bank account of your many. And you're literally gonna like your time's gotta be worth more than like the $20, this $20, your time's gonna be worth way more than the process that you're gonna have to re-go through again for a whole nother deal. So at that point we're like, screw it, whatever, we'll pay the $20 for that furniture. So yeah, we've done it before.
$20.
$20, yeah.
That's why they have 14 million in the bank, because they watch.
I don't know, man. I don't know. But I was like, I think that's where pride was getting in the way. Right? I'm like, you gotta understand, like, the value of your time, I've seen that happen. Like, I've seen like and you remember that, right? I mean, what's your most dollar productive activities? We all get emotional at times. I remember seeing like a Ferrari pull into a Costco gas station, like when the line was like 15 minutes long, and I'm like, your time has got to be better.
Yeah.
Like you've got to be making way more money than that 20 minutes is going to take you to save that $4.
Yeah.
Maybe $5 on a good day.
Maybe that's the agent.
What?
Maybe that's the agent you were talking about at the gas pumps.
Well, in that case, then he's smart, right?
Yeah.
But still, even so, you got to think, right? Pull up to a different gas station, talk to some different people. So.
Oh, even if you don't need gas.
That's right. So but it was one of those things, right? Like, what is your best? And that's why, again, we track numbers. So we can actually understand what's our best use of time. The faster you can get away the low-level stuff, and if you love it, whatever, right? That you love the low-level stuff, but the faster you can get off the $15 an hour, $20 an hour work, and focus on the dollar productive, that's going to help you with your business. That's what the best executives know how to do. All right. Any other ahas from the video? Gary.
Mine was active listening.
Yep.
He was a really good active listener. Everything he said, everything the client said, he said it right back.
Yep.
And to me, I was like, are you kidding me? Like now that I know about it, I feel like he's just like a mockingbird. But I feel like it does help him understand what he's asking too. Mm-hmm. Because oftentimes what's being said isn't what's being received. And so it does a really good job of, hey, so you wouldn't park with the chandelier. No, I wouldn't park with the chandelier. So he was just like active listening, and that's something that I'm learning right now a lot. Yeah. So that's what I'm trying to do. This is a big nugget for me.
Yeah, and here's the thing. Here's the truth too. Sometimes just by even asking that question, sometimes they go, like maybe I would, but like I really don't want to. Just by asking that question, so you really wouldn't part with that chandelier, and they go, well, like if I really had to, I would, but I really prefer not to. So also now you just move the needle a little bit just from the active listening, right? Because just from the active listening, sometimes just repeating stuff back to people, they'll actually clarify if it needs extra clarification, or they go, yeah, that's right. There's no way I'm partnering with that stinking chandelier. Okay, good to know. May change your mind later. I'm thinking in my head, you may change your mind later, but. Right, and he was asking and notice too when he was talking to the client about that, he wasn't just repeating, but what was he doing? He was actually advising him and not being tied to that result, right? It's like, so just so you know, my advice is this. Do you know what approach we call that?
Again, sorry.
Do you know what approach
No.
that is? What we call that approach? It's not what?
It's not steering, right? Steering's bad.
You never want to be steering somebody. Call it consultative. I mean, you're just being consultative. It's a consultative approach, right? You're giving your advice, but you're letting them know, like, look, it's ultimately your decision, but I'm just letting you know that this is my advice. I'm just making it double clear that you understand what I'm saying. And if so long as you want to move that, like, you may lose $10,000 by not replacing the carpet, Mr. Seller. Is that a result that would be okay with you? Yeah, there's just no way I'm flipping replacing this carpet. Like the emotional hassle that is, you go, okay, great. Even though I might replace that carpet, emotionally that seller, their time might be they're like, whatever, the stress is not worth the $10,000 difference. Screw that, because they could be, there's a lot of things that factor in. It's not just dollars and cents to people. Make sense?
How do you bridge between what they're emotionally attached to and not just by questions, going back and forth, I mean, finding out what they're attached to and what they're willing to replace to make the deal go through. So it's just constant.
Yeah, just questions, right? You're questioning them, you're advising them. Like you may advise, hey, by not doing this, you may be, the deal may not go through if you say that. Are you okay with that?
Just verify that they're okay with things stagnating.
I mean that's what you have. Your sales skills are very important to ask those questions and help things move forward. But ultimately, you're being consultative as well, right? Because a lot of people don't know what they don't know. You as the agent are the professional. You're supposed to help guide them through the actual process. Make sense? Any other ahas? Anybody feel like they're a master negotiator now? Awesome. Cool. All right, daily 10-4. Actually, before we do that, have any of you guys had experiences with negotiations? You want to tell me about it?
Yeah, we just finished litigation today. So we own some properties in Canada. I've been trying to sell them for 7 years. Finally took them to a court order to petition and sale. And the court date was today.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a minutes of settlements that came in yesterday because I don't want to say over the thing. But anyways, I negotiated the deal. I ultimately came up on the minutes of settlement and how we're going to sell the properties and make that relationship dissolve.
Awesome.
Yep.
Cool. Anybody else?
Yes, I had a deal where I double-ended. So it's my seller, and then we found the buyer. Multiple offer, but obviously behind. There was so it was an older home with popcorn ceiling. So I didn't know prior to 86,
78, yeah.
78, whatever, that you got to do a besto. So that came up in the inspection report. So, but the inspection report was just very like 2-page, not even go into detail about it.
Wow.
But so I told him we need to do the testing. Test came positive, and ended up what you were talking about, where I actually had to end up paying for the besto, because I was handling both case, and we were gonna just not do only major safety and health wise.
Yeah.
We're not gonna go over like the small stuff, and that was one of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was it.
Interesting, right? And that's also, I think that's a good lesson too of setting expectations, right? So knowing that homes prior to 1978, like early 70s, before that could have asbestos in the popcorn ceiling. And they could have asbestos in the walls, and the vinyl tile, glue, they put them all over it. So prepping your buyer beforehand, like you kind of cut off that, say, hey, just so you know, it's, as long as it's up there, again, talk to an asbestos expert. I'm not an asbestos expert. From everything I know, unless you actually remove it or displace it, it's totally fine. It's once you start moving it. So you let them know. So like you let them know prior to.
Yeah.
So yeah, because people freak out when they hear the word asbestos. So that's where you bring them back, but beforehand, right? Because if they hear it the first time in the inspection, now they're freaked out. Like, I'm gonna die, right? And it's like, no.
The seller is like, I live in this and I never had a problem, and now the buyer's freaking out, and
Yeah. So you had to handle it through, right? So finding a win-win is always a good way to go. You guys know what a win-win is? Both sides win. What does that mean? 50-50? 100-100, right? I mean, but here's the thing to think about. Like, if you're thinking about it, if it's just out of 100, a win-win doesn't necessarily have to be 50-50. That's what I explain to my buyers and I explain to my sellers. It could be 90-10. As long as we hit that pain point, solve that pain point on the other side, it could be a win-win, right? Seller may really not want to pull out the dang carpet. That, so you come up, that might be the other thing. So you figure out a way to solve that issue, and the seller may be willing to come down in price, like whatever it is, right? So you just find out what that is, to find that win-win deal. So daily 10-4, we are going to go to, everybody been doing their activities, logging it? I don't know if everybody's been logging. So contacts and database for this week. Scott, leading the charge.
Come on.
9, so really close, good job. Man, Scott, you were literally all the way down to Homes Preview. You're the lowest one on that.
I was gonna go to Caravan this morning and they canceled it.
But dang, I mean, great job. Great job. Connections, 38 so far. Awesome. You're in the class, right? Yeah, because you were in before. So connections, Gary, 25, right below. So doing a good job, guys. Do you know why do you remember why we track numbers?
It's our business.
It's your business.
It's our money.
It's your money, right? Do you guys know what the language of business is? Numbers. Yeah, if you don't know numbers, then you don't know your business. If you don't know your business, how are you supposed to actually run a business? You can't. Right? Do you guys remember the story I told you about when I started counting my calories? I started tracking my calories. And I was always talking about it in business, and then all of a sudden I started doing it when I actually started looking at my calories. I was always telling me, I got a slow metabolism, which I do believe I do have a slower metabolism than, like, say, my brother-in-law, who eats like a dozen donuts. He has a more defined six-pack after that, right? He just like puts on muscle. But then I started to realize, I'm like, I've been eating a lot more calories than I thought I was. Because I started tracking the numbers, and so I realized, okay, this is what I got to do. I got to change it up this way if I want to get to my goal, whatever your goal may be. Maybe it's to put on some muscle, maybe it's to drop muscle. Or drop fat, I should say. I never want to drop muscle, right? Does that make sense? Gains, right? You going for gains, Gary?
Gain muscle, lose fat.
Going for gains. Yeah, you want to gain muscle, lose fat, right? So you have your goal, and then you have your numbers, and your numbers help you understand it. Maybe I'm tracking my numbers, and I say, look, I'm hitting my calorie count, I'm not losing weight. Now I can go into a diagnosis, right? Maybe I got to change up my activity. Same thing when you track your numbers in real estate. You track your numbers so you can understand where you're going, right? Because your goal is just a target. Your goal is really just there so you can set up your plan. You track your numbers so you can see how your plan's doing. Does that make sense? And as you track your numbers, you can say, hey, this plan's not getting me where I need to go. Or you go, I'm okay with where it's bringing me. I'm not willing to commit to any more activity. Make sense? So good job, guys. But for a couple of people, everybody else, Gary, you're slacking, man. This handwritten notes. Did I just press something? Anyways, keep it up, guys. I seriously, do the activities. Are you interested or are you committed? You interested in real estate or are you committed to real estate? You interested in being successful or are you actually committed to making it work? Make sense? All right, now I gotta find out how to get this guy out. Always gets so quiet when I talk about numbers. Nobody likes to track the numbers. It's not the sexiest part of real estate, I will tell you that.
Could be.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, it gets you where you want to go, though, right? It's not the sexiest, which is why nobody does it. People a lot of times they want the success, but they're unwilling to do the things that are necessary to get to success. So that's what I call you're interested in success. I'm interested in the idea of being successful. I'm not committed to being successful, right? Because if you look at successful businesses, I hate to say it, a lot of times they're kind of boring. Not boring from the money coming in, that's the fun part. But the activities they do oftentimes are pretty mundane. They're pretty simple, they're pretty mundane. Now you can make it fun, right? But you're tracking your numbers. That's not really that fun of tracking my numbers. I door knocked 100 homes, I talked to 15 people, and it took me 2 hours. Or it took me 3 hours. That's not that fun, but over the long haul, you start seeing results. The results are fun. It's not fun for me to put in my calories in my smartphone. That sucks. I'm like, I gotta manually find this thing. It's not on here. or I got a meal of like 6 different things and I got to like name it. That's a pain, right? But then the results that come from it, hey, I lost 3 pounds this week. That's awesome. Right? Make sense? All right. Track your numbers. Remember, 10 new contacts, 10 people in your database, write 10 notes, preview 10 homes a week. Why do we write handwritten notes? I know. Personal connection. Do a lot of people do it? Does like anybody do it? Probably half the people in this class aren't even doing it, let's be honest, right?
I wanted to interject something. I got a little looked like a handwritten note that AT&T's capitalizing on what we did because it looked like a handwritten note. I was like, wow, who sent me this? Mm-hmm. It was an AT&T marketing piece. Yep. But it looked just like someone had sat down. You know, very effective.
Yeah. There's actually machines. I don't know if you guys. There's actually machines that will handwrite notes.
Yeah, it was.
They're expensive, but I mean, there's
They get a lot of work.
There's some convincing fonts also.
There are some convincing fonts, but a lot of times you can tell like, oh, this doesn't look handwritten. There's actually machines that actually hold a pen and like get it on a paper and like they'll even change up the letters. You know, so they have like they have these whole algorithms to change it.
You can actually have a font that you write and they'll make letters.
Yeah, you can. Like I've done it before.
Oh, and they'll vary. Like if you like an A this way, you have like a few different A's, and then it'll randomly.
Oh, I haven't seen that one. I've seen the ones where like I handwritten and put it in. But even so, like I've done those and they still, not the one that varies, but the one that doesn't vary, and you can still kind of tell. Like there's something about when it prints, you can still kind of tell. I will tell you there is a way that you could actually, with the Sharpie marker, you can Xerox handwritten cards, and it will look just like a Sharpie marker. So, FYI, you want to save some time? If you're writing the same thing 100 times, all you're changing is the name. Leave the name blank, write it out, copy those 100 cards, and just write the name.
That's when you know you have a big problem. If you need like an automated handwritten deal.
I know, right? You think about all these things. All right, guys, we're going to take some time. We're going to lead generate from business. Are we lead generators here?
Yes.
What's our number one job as real estate agents?
Lead generation.
Lead generation. Why is that? Makes us money. I mean, really think about every business. Your first job is to lead generate. It's to get business in. Would you agree, Michaela?
I would.
So for you guys who don't know, her and her husband own a cleaners, like one of the most successful cleaners business in San Diego. So if you ever need your clothes pressed, go to her. But if you're looking to lead generate through it, don't go to them. Go to somewhere else. Yeah. Were you going to say something?
No, not here.
All right, guys.
All right, so the preview 10 homes, is that just going out to look at like open houses? Or?
Yeah, so previewing 10 homes a week. You can either go to an open house, you can go to vacant homes. I usually I'm not going to just go to somebody's house and make them boot them out of their house because it usually is effort for them to do that. But I usually like to, so you're going to go through homes, either open houses, vacant homes, broker caravan. So that's what Scott was saying. I was going to go to broker caravan. You can usually punch out quite a few there. And the reason why we do that is so that we understand what the market is doing, not just on a conscious level, but on a subconscious level, right? Because there is an art and a science to pricing a house. Did you guys know that? Mm-hmm. It's not just price per square foot multiplied by square footage of the home, right? That's not what it is. A lot of people think that, but there's a reason why certain homes sell for more and certain homes sell for less, even though they could be the same square footage, same exact floor plan, and what can sell for $100,000 more. So the question is, why is that? Is it the view? Is it the fact that it's on a cul-de-sac, on a busy street? Is there a swimming pool? Does a swimming pool take up the entire yard? Right? Because I can tell you one thing, what I've seen, a lot of people don't like it when swimming pools take up an entire yard. They'd rather have a yard without a swimming pool than one that takes up the entire backyard. Right? Or does a house smell inside? Smells really turn people off. Right? So when you walk into a house, the question is, if you're walking into a listing, these are the things that you need to be thinking about, right? Because you can have a house that shows beautifully, but if it smells like I've gone to houses where it just smells like reeks of just old musty dog, right? The homeowners don't really notice, frankly, because they've been in there, that's the smell that they're used to. And any buyer that comes through and you walk in, you're like, whoa, like it just smells like mildew. And the house will literally sell for probably like significantly less than if they just would replace the carpets, threw a paint job on, and ran some ozone through that house. Right? Or cigarette smoke. Has anybody been in a house that's just like, it's just, like it is just caked into the walls?
The one that my girlfriend and I went to the house, or to an open house, they had scented candles every.
So what did that make you think?
I think they're hiding something.
You know, a lot of buyers think the same thing. They may not. Maybe they just really like scented candles.
Right.
Some people just love scented candles.
Turned on. Sorry, they're all lit. Like the scented candles.
Different smell.
Oh my god, it was just overwhelming.
I've gone into houses where they plug in the Glade plugins in every single room, like where it's like literally overbearing. And the same thing happens. And it almost actually gives people a head, like that client. They were just like, oh, I can't even like walk in this house. It's so strong. But sure enough, they were hiding it because it smelled like smoke in that house.
That has to be disclosed though, right?
What?
That smells like smoke. The whole house smells like smoke.
Well, I mean, I guess they would argue back, but you walk through the house, you know what it smells like. Right? Like you should. Now, I think it's silly, right, to put, because as soon as they take those things out.
But it's like if you find a damage under a carpet, like, and they didn't dispose that.
Oh, yeah, you got to do that. Yeah,
So
because
this doesn't go on the same, this isn't on the same level, or smells hasn't been.
Well, okay, so that's really more of a contracts question, so we'll do it later. But yeah, I mean, like a smell, right, you would think, like as long as you would think that if you walk through the property, you're aware of what it smells like. And if it's suitable to you, right? I mean, what if it doesn't smell like smoke? What if it smells like something else and you don't know what it smells like? How do you describe that? Yeah, strong odor.
Foul odor.
Foul, but foul is, I mean, maybe foul to you, somebody else may like it.
Odor.
You know what I mean, frankly, I've been in houses, there's certain, like, for example, there's different cultures have different foods. Certain houses smell different ways. To one culture, it doesn't smell bad at all. To another culture, it smells like horrendous. Right? Like I've walked through properties where I'm like, I can deal because I've been through it. And I have like a pregnant woman with me, and she like literally has to run out of the house, and she like, I've had that happen to run out and vomits outside because the smell, like all it was just food. It was just a food smell. That's all it was. And do you think that person wanted to buy that house now, or do you think that?
I think that's a statement though.
So how do I disclose that? I mean, smell. I mean, like smell. I mean, because somebody else says will go and just smells great. Like it smells like what I remember as a child. Another person just goes, oh, like this is horrendous. Like. And plus, a pregnant woman, it's who knows, right? My wife's pregnant right now. That's how I know. It's like she can, like if I haven't showered in 20 minutes and I'm like 15 feet across the room, she'll like look at me. I don't really smell that bad, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. About, when previewing vacant homes, like what's the proper etiquette? If you know it's vacant, I know there's showing instructions, but you know it's vacant and it's not really specific. Do we always need to contact the listing agent before we go?
Well, it should say in the showing instructions.
Okay.
Right. If the showing instructions just say vacant,
yeah,
it means just go.
We can just go.
Now, here's like a lesson for you though, right? If you're the listing agent, you probably just shouldn't put vacant. You can say vacant, just go, vacant, go, or text and go, whatever you want it to be. But the more when you're vague, people, it doesn't give people permission necessarily to move forward, right? Now, being the agent in the industry, I understand that, yeah, means 9 times out of 10, I'm good to go.
Okay.
But it's like, yeah, just be clear. Don't be vague, just be clear. Make sense?
Yeah.
But sometimes they say it's vacant and they want you to call, or they want you, so then do that as well. All right, guys, we're gonna lead generate for 15 minutes, so not the full 20. Notice what the affirmation says on page 8. It says, I tune into the needs of those I'm calling and find solutions that work. Active listening, guys. Tune into the solutions work. So let's go ahead. Let's lead generate for 15, rank cars for 5. And then we'll be getting ready for Robert Colella. All right. Good to go? You guys ready for this? All right. So what are we doing today? What are we talking about?
Negotiating.
Negotiating. Why is negotiating important?
Make a deal.
Make it a good deal? What about this? Your ability to negotiate will directly influence your rate of contracts that close. It will actually also influence the amount of contracts that you actually sign. Right? A listing agreement, depending on how you negotiate and how well you can negotiate, will oftentimes even help you actually get that contract. So it's important to realize, right, that negotiations are an absolutely integral part of the real estate process, of the real estate transaction. In fact, they're so important that 2014 National Association of Realtors had a survey that said negotiations ranked second as the most important thing in an agent for buyers, and 6 for what sellers want in an agent. So with that being said, do you believe that buyers and sellers want an agent who can actually negotiate on their behalf? Yeah. I mean, buyers or sellers care more? Buyers. I mean, at least according to the data, right? Tracking the numbers than other numbers. That's why it's important, right? So if you're talking to a buyer and you are experienced in negotiation, do you think that might be an important thing to mention? I mean, if in fact you actually are, right? Now, go back to the other side of it. If you're a seller, do you think that's going to be the first thing you're going to talk about? Probably not. Still important, though, for them to understand that rank 6 as the most important thing of what they're looking for in an agent. Now, as with the offer process, negotiation is definitely a pivotal point. It can literally be the deal maker or the deal breaker with regards to the actual whole process. They can actually, they say they happen twice during this contract process. 1, during the offer phase with the goal of getting a contract, and 2, during the option period while under contract with the goal of closing the contract. Does anybody know what the option period is? Option period is just, have you guys heard of contingencies? That's what the option period is, right? When there's contingencies in place in the contract, at which point you might have to renegotiate the deal. So probably a lot of you haven't gone through the contracts class yet, but when you write an offer, did you know that it's you're writing it up as is? Like the offer says, I'm buying this property as is. It's not saying, so when people say, I'm buying this property as is, the funny thing is that's what the contract already says. Now, when they go ahead and you go through the process and you say, for example, do inspections and you find something out about the property that your buyer may care about, that's when you may have to renegotiate, right? That's why it's supposed to be for major items or bigger issues, not small things, because the buyer's already technically agreeing to buy it as is. So when you're in that process, you got to remember, okay, what is it that would be a big deal if they had to disclose it to the next buyer? Because they're going to have to disclose that report to the next buyer. So what would be a deal breaker for somebody else? Is it going to be a cracked outlet? And you laugh, right? But people like, deals get killed over a cracked outlet or a scratch in the paint. Like a mark in the wall. Like people literally freak out about it. They're expecting to buy a brand new house. Yeah, new home. And even new homes have stuff. I mean, for Pete's sakes, I don't know if you guys ever walked through a new home, it actually has issues even with the new home. Right? So, yeah, blue tape, that's right. You put the blue tape everywhere. Right? So what it really is understanding that you're actually renegotiating the deal at that point, because when you actually get a request for repairs, the seller is actually not even obligated to respond to it. So I always let my buyers know, for example, that they're not obligated to respond to it. And advise them that is the major items that we're looking for, right? Because they're technically buying it as is. So it says here, after investing so much time and energy to move a lead all the way to an agreement and mails then to a sales contract, the last thing you want to do is let a deal actually fall through. So your ability to negotiate will directly influence your rate of contracts that close. So that's why we talk about sales ability being an important part of the negotiation process, right? Because sales is really just influence, is it not? And negotiation really is just influence as well. And so you're actually helping, a lot of times you're actually helping people get out of their own way when you negotiate. You're helping people get over their emotions, over their own issues to actually get through the process. And if you guys look at the funnel on page 9, right, we go from leads to appointments to agreements to contracts. But when do we get paid? At close. Right, so if you don't close the escrow, are you going to get paid for all that work you did? No. And it happens. Like sometimes there's just really no saving the deal. But wouldn't you be at least a little remiss if you figured out a way that, oh, if I would have said this or if I would have done that, I actually could have kept the deal together. Or I could have got my buyer a little bit more money, or I could have got my seller a little bit more money. Right, so it makes a big difference getting through the process. Now, today we are going to have Robert Colello talking. Do you guys know who Robert is? Here he is right here. He is I consider him a master negotiator, one of my favorite people in the office, great, phenomenal agent. How long have you been in San Diego, Robert?
I moved here in 2007 during the real estate depression.
During the real estate depression. So if you can cut your chops during that, you know you're going to do well, right? So guys, give your ears to Robert as he's going to talk about negotiating the contract.
I love that part in your hair.
Relevant.
Can I sell with you? How's everybody doing today? Good. So my name is Robert Colello. I've been part of the Market Center for going on 5 years now. I've been in San Diego since April of 2007. So I don't know if anybody was in San Diego back in April of 2007. It wasn't the best time to get into real estate. Little did I know when I moved here from New York with 3 kids and a pregnant wife with our 4th. And I didn't know anybody but the broker I was working for. And as he's drowning, they say what when someone's drowning, get away from him, they'll pull you down too, right? So he wasn't handing deals out to me, because he's trying to survive himself. But you know what? I've been in full-time sales since I was 19 years old. So I love sales, you know. Matter of fact, my daughter and my kids have heard me say this so many times, and my daughter made an emoji, right? I don't get paid to spell, I get paid to sell, you know, because I'm always goofing up people's names, I'm always misspelling things, I'm always missaying things. And I always tell my kids, don't worry, I don't get paid to spell, I just get paid to sell, right? So she made me that and sent it to me, which I thought was hilarious. But how many of you in here, I got a question for you, do you guys view yourself as a professional salesperson or a real estate consultant? Sorry?
Real estate consultant.
Okay. Raise your hands who reviews themselves as a real estate consultant. Okay. Raise your hand who reviews themselves as a real estate sales professional. That's how you should view yourself. Consultants, no. You're a salesperson. If you want to be a consultant, go work for IBM, go work for Qualcomm, go be an engineer. Maybe many of you were. You're not a consultant. You are a salesperson. You are hired to negotiate a contract. If you don't believe that, then you're not going to have the belief in yourself and what it takes to negotiate a proper contract for your clients. That's what you're getting paid to do. You know, we're going to talk about how negotiations is the precipice of this whole sales process. You can consult your client right into no sales all year long, and that's not going to feel good for them, and it's not going to feel good for you when the bill collectors are knocking on your door asking for your money. Well, I'm a consultant. I'm working on the sales part, you know. So view yourself as a salesperson. That's the biggest misnomer in this business. People come in the business and they don't view themselves as a salesperson. It's a sales business because we get paid to do what? Help people buy in what homes? It's a sale. It's a sale process. And it's the largest what that they ever do? Purchase, right? It's the largest sale they make. And now that's where you consult them through. Now, do you consult people? Yes, you consult them through the what process? Sales process. So you're a salesperson, aren't you? You know, the objections of this class, you know, today is to learn the most common points of negotiation, walk through the P's, the 3 P's of negotiating process, practice planning strategies and crafting communication to customers and to agents during negotiations, and discover techniques to minimize risk. Because you know what? Through the negotiating process, you're either going to lose money or you're going to make a lot of money. It's either or. You're going to lose or make. Plain and simple, okay? I'm not going to follow this word by word because, as I said before in the beginning of the class, I get paid to do what? No. Not spell. I am dyslexic. Reading, I hate, it's not my thing. I do a lot of it, but I'm much better about giving you experiences. I went through the whole presentation here. I highlighted some things. I wrote my thoughts, but I thought, you know what? You ever heard textbook experience or just textbook? Or real experience is real experience. And do you guys want textbook experience or real experience? Yeah, and there's good experience here, don't get me wrong. But I'm just going to give you my experience. I'm going to give you what I've been doing for the last, going on 12 years. Came here in 2017 or 2007, not knowing anybody. Present day, we're recognized as one of the top 100 real estate agents in San Diego County out of 18,000 agents. I don't say that to impress you, just to impress upon you. My business is all referral based. If I didn't know what I was doing, if I didn't get the results people pay me to give them, I wouldn't have a business, right? So when Ellen first started working with me, I told her some of the common practices of how we work and how quick we get people into escrow and how quick we get people locked down. And she didn't understand how that could be possible. That's through negotiating, okay? And we're going to go through some of those tips. If you'd like to hear those tips, I'll give them to you. If you want me to stick to the, okay, good. All right, so I'm going to flip through just to I want to keep on track with the theme here. I'll give you my insight, okay? So page 9 says, get your head in the game. Guys, this is about mindset. First and foremost, it all starts or ends with what goes on between these 6 inches in between your ears, right? If some people have 12, some people have 6. I was just maybe 3, just averaging out, Ellen. But if you don't have control of what goes on in your own mind, okay, you can't help control someone else and what they're dealing with in their mind, right? And this is a game of mindset, okay? Everything in life is a game of mindset. If you want to be successful, you know what? You have to control your mind. I tell my kids all the time, there's a great story I love, and it's about a white dog and a black dog, okay? And there's an Eskimo that fights them, right? And he has these 2 huskies, and he fights them, and he always bets on the winning dog. And they ask him, how do you know which dog is going to win every time? That's crazy. I know they're your dogs, but you always know. He goes, because I always bet on the one that I feed. Right? Zig Ziglar said a long time ago, and I love this, he said, your mind is like a bank, and it's a deposit and a withdrawal system, okay? And just like a bank, how many times has anybody deposited money into your account without your permission to say, hey, I'm going to deposit 100 grand into your account? Doesn't happen, right? You're responsible for the deposits of money in the account, just like you're responsible for putting deposits of good stuff in your mind. Withdrawals as well will happen. Now, withdrawals in the mindset world is just called life, okay? So if you want a Murphy repellent to life, put a lot of good stuff in your mind. People that work with me, Katie, Ellen, Suzanne, other people will say that I'm pretty good about dealing with problems, right? I don't freak out too much. That's not because that's just, how I was born. Maybe I'm bent a little different than most, but I've spent so much time putting good stuff in, good Bible verses, good motivational talks, strategies. I'm always learning. If you want to grow, you have to learn. You want to earn, you have to learn. So that way, when the storm comes in life, you know what happens? I have reserves in my bank that when I get debited for 5 grand that was unexpected, I don't have 1,000 in there, so I'm negative 4,000. Maybe there's 100 grand in there, so I still got 95 grand in there. Really, all I need to have is $5,001 in there. So at least I have $1 left, right? But no one wants to live on such little margin. I like to have plenty of margin. Because in this business, you're going to have a lot of ups and downs. You know what I mean? One thing that you have to keep in mind is you don't want the emotional roller coaster of real estate to take you out of this business, okay? You got to keep your emotions in the line. And the way you're going to do that is a good mental diet. So one of the things I tell you to write down is do your devotion, your prayer time, your meditation time in the morning, okay? One of the things I'm bringing back into my routine is back in the exercising in the mornings. It's so important to be at your best mentally, spiritually, physically, because this is attacking business. You don't even realize it is in a good way. You know what I mean? You got clients that this is their #1 purchase. This is their biggest sale, and they're depending on you. And once you get more and more successful, you start dealing with 4, 5, 6, 10, 15 at a time, plus all the people that are active, plus all the buyers. Your mind will get stretched, but you'll grow and you'll be fine. But remember I said, if you're not growing, you're dying. you have to grow. And that's going to be through techniques, classes, mindset, spiritual, the whole thing. What you eat, you got to eat good food, you know. This all has to play in a negotiation. Because think about it. If you're trying hard to get a good deal on a car in a car dealership, and you've let them, which I don't let them do this to me, beat you down, not feed you, starve you, and keep you confined for 6 hours, and then keep playing bad cop, good cop, which we'll talk about in a little bit, how powerful are you negotiating that deal for the car, right? You can't even give them to come down $500, let alone a real estate transaction. We're talking about tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars, okay? So it's a mindset game. Got to be ready for that mindset. You know, I'll tell you a quick story about that. One time I was out showing properties to a buyer, right? And we were in a neighborhood, and the buyer I had, their mother came along. And you ever met somebody that when their parents came along, they turned to be about 5 years old? I'm like, what the heck happened to this lady? She's an FBI agent, super, super strong, single mom, has her stuff together, buying real estate. And then mom comes along, and she like looks this small. I'm like, oh my gosh, this lady's going to screw my deal up, all right? And we found a great house for the client. And the mom comes along, and she looks around the house, she walks all around it, and she's in and out. And then she storms out the front door, and I'm like, where's she going? But it's not going to be good, I'm sure. But good, she's gone, so I can get her, you know, do a therapy session on her daughter real quick, you know, figure out where the pain and the hurts are from her childhood and get her back on track to buy a house, right? And I'm talking to her, and she comes back in, she goes, yep, this is not a good neighborhood. California sucks. You know what? The neighbors down the road are moving to Idaho, and she goes through this whole thing. Well, I'm a pretty observant person, and I noticed there was a green lifted truck in front of that house that she said the neighbors were moving from. So in my head, I had opportunity for a listing. This might be going south, but opportunity for a listing. So I let her go on her way for her mom, and I went over to that house with the green truck, right? Knock on the door. Actually, no, the guy was in the front yard gardening, okay? And he's gardening, and he looks at me, and he kind of looks at me annoyed, right? You know, and I go, hey, Ken, it's Robert from church. I'm thinking I have some common ground here. I remember the green truck because I knew his son-in-law was married to his daughter, and we're friends. And I said, hey, I heard you're moving. Yep, moving to Idaho. Great. Wow, when are you moving? Moving in 3 months. Wow. Hey, I'd love an opportunity to interview for the job. I don't want to be presumptuous. Like, hey, you're going to be listening. To interview for the job. No, I already picked someone out. And he picked out someone you might all know, Chris Heller. All right. And he was meeting with Monica Reynolds, right? And I was like, hey, you know, those are big names in real estate. But I was like, hey, I still, you know, I got to feed my family. I like to sell real estate. This is 2009, 10. The market was still in a slump. I'm like, you know, I'm going after this. And he just would not give me any time of day. I felt pretty battered and beat, right? So I get in my car. I smile. I leave. I drive back to the office I was at the time. And I'm in my car. And I'm going through the underground parking. And in underground parking, you know, like when your car goes under, the shadow starts cascading across your front of your hood. I don't know what it felt like going into like the Legion of Death, like a doomed temple, like I'm gonna die. And as soon as it was coming through, I heard Zig Ziglar in my mind, and he said, "Timid salespeople have skinny kids." And I said, "F that." I'm by myself. F that. The only reason my kids will be skinny is because they're athletic. I said this out loud, right? I turned that car around, and I went back, and I remember what Les Brown said when he tried to get in the radio job. He went back like 4 or 5 times, and he went back every time like he'd never met that guy before. You know, hi, Mr. Blah, that's Les Brown, you know. And every time I got there, it was crazier, crazier. I knock on the door. The guy, he was he could be a pretty curt guy. He comes up to the door, and he has like smoke coming out of his ears. And he's like, what? That's how he answered me. I said, hey, Ken, I know that you're committed to this person. I get that. But I was just thinking that you're going to want every agent who's active in the area to know about your house, right? He goes, of course. And obviously I'm active in the area because the only reason I knew your home was for sale is because the mother of my buyer, who I was showing your next door neighbor's home, knocked on your door and asked you how you liked the neighborhood, right? He goes, yeah. So obviously you're going to want me to know about your home because I'm probably going to have a high probability I'm going to come across the buyer that might want to buy your house, right? He goes, yeah. So would you do me a favor? Would you mind giving me a tour of your home? So that way it'll be top of mind when I come across a buyer that may be looking for this kind of home. Because you said it was custom, right? He goes, yeah. And there's probably some unique features to your home that I should know about that aren't going to be cookie cutter like most homes in this neighborhood. He was in Westwood, you know, where a lot of homes got burnt. He goes, of course. 2 hours later, gives me the great tour, right? I don't usually spend that much time on a tour, but I was doing it. I get upstairs, and I asked for that appointment again. Because I had a mission. We're going to get this appointment. I got the appointment. Now, I kept following up with this guy for the next 2 months, and he kept promising me he was going to give me the listing appointment. And you know what? I call him up on a Wednesday, and he says, or on Tuesday, he says, oh, I can't talk to him. Moving trucks are coming this Thursday. Dude, Ken, didn't you promise me you're going to give me an appointment? He goes, yeah, I did, but I'm going to meet with Monica, and we're going to list it on Thursday. I go, listen, let me meet with you, and you meet with her, and you can decide who you want to work with, but at least give me an opportunity, because I know you're a man of your word, aren't you? He goes, get over here tomorrow, or I'm going to list with her on Thursday. So I went over there, and I listed the property. She didn't get to Monica, and we sold that home in 21 days. And that home was right on the freeway. Like you could hear, like he had to put $40,000 extra insulation in the house because of the sound from the road was so bad, right? So that was about negotiating, not with him. Who was that really negotiating with? Me. That was negotiating with me, the gumption to go back, the gumption to be persistent, the gumption to not take no. That's where mindset came. And you know what? In the Bible says all hard work will lead to a profit. Oh, mere talk leads to poverty, man. And it says that a man will reap what he sows. God can't be mocked. Meaning, what you put in the ground, you're going to get out. You don't put anything in the ground, don't expect anything to come out. That's why scripts, that's why the motivational stuff, all that stuff's going to make a big difference in you because you just never know when you're going to need it. And when you do need it and you don't have it, that sucks. But when you do need it and you got it, it's awesome. And if you don't need it and you have it, then you got an insurance policy, right? All right, so here, let's get back into some of the context here. It's really, really important, okay, the negotiations, okay? This is the deal. It's part of the funnel process, right? You have the process of sales, and it starts out with lead generation and setting the appointments, then getting an agreement, right? You get it signed. Now you go into contract. Well, this is where the contract process, and guess what? That's where the negotiation process right there is. Because you can get all the way through the funnel of a sale. And if you get down to the bottom of a sale and you can't close the deal, and here's the funnel, and there's all the different layers, lead, appointment, signed contract, and now you can't get right here. And this is where the sale happens, and it gets stopped because you can't overcome an objection. All this meant nothing, right? That's the 80-20, man, this is the 20% that means the most. That's the 20% that means the most. So that's why it's so important that you don't just try to get through this just based on your best guess or based on what you think might work. You gotta take this serious, negotiations, right? Because otherwise you will do all this work for nothing. You'll pay for marketing, you'll do things and engage in relationships and go on listing appointments and take hours to prepare and do all this stuff, and then nothing happens. Doesn't that suck? Think about how that feels. Trust me, it feels 10 times worse when it really happens. You know, and it's part of the process. Failure's gonna be part of the process, but it can be avoided if you guys will be diligent about studying, okay? So making it happen, you know, putting this into action, okay? Putting into action, negotiating. You know, we're always negotiating for something, guys. You know what I mean? You're negotiating with your kids, your clients, your wives, and your husband when you want something, right? You're always selling someone on something. Nothing gets pushed through in life unless a sale's made. And it could be just very supple and you don't even realize, but someone had an agreement. Someone agreed, yes, we'll go to dinner here tonight. And it might have been easy, or it might have been tough, you know. Yes, I'll sign the contract with you, you know. Yes, you know, well, I'll buy the car from you, but only at this price. And they have to agree or not. You know, until a sale is made, nothing happens. So you need to realize that. You negotiate with agents and you negotiate with your clients. I think this is something that most people negate to realize, okay? You're negotiating with your clients. You're negotiating with your agents, and you're negotiating with the agent's client through the agent. So you got to be sly, man. You got to be on your game, you know? You got to know how to be a word merchant, how to move things along, because the deal is this. How many people have been in a transaction with an agent on the other end that I can't say what you think about them because we're being filmed here, but they're not the best type of person in the world? You know, you might have a name for them that's 4 letters only, if they're that special, right? Son of a, you know, there's a lot of things that we can put there, right? Now, when you're dealing with that person and you're the listing agent and you got 4 other offers on the table, how likely are you going to be to vote for that person to get this deal?
I don't know.
Oh, man. So you got to set the pace and the table. And Ellen will tell you that's something I'm real good about. When we're working with buyers, we put buyers in escrow in 4 to 14 days. The average agent, you guys know this? They can take 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 to 6 months. It's like 2 to 4 months on average to get a buyer in escrow. We're doing 4 to 14 days. If I don't get a buyer in escrow within 2 weeks, something's wrong. That's my belief. Something's wrong, okay? Because we have a whole buyer's process. We take buyers through an education process, a rating system. I'm not going to get into that because this is what we're not teaching today. But I do that part. But guess what? If I get a buyer teed up and ready to go, find what they're looking for, but I can't negotiate well, or I'm that agent, that 4-letter agent, don't ever be the 4-letter agent, okay? The whole deal stops. So I'm going to give you some how-tos to how first to set a good stage with negotiating with that agent. Call them ahead of time. Ask them questions about the property. Ask them, is there any offers on the table? I learned this early on, man. How many times I show properties to a buyer, they're all love it, and I go back to call the agent, he said, oh, we just wanted escrow. What the? Are you serious? Oh my gosh. Only took me once or twice to that. So I always call them, and you introduce yourself. Tell them a little bit about yourself. Hey, not talking about how many kids you have and how, you're part of the, the collegiate club of such and such. I'm not talking about that. This is how we run our business. We're easy to work with. We deal with clients that are well-behaved. They understand the process and aren't going to ask for the kitchen sink and everything else to be fixed in the request for repairs. Let them be waiting for that call, hoping that your client, see, this is the goal. My goal is when we are done showing the property that agent is hoping to God that we're writing an offer. I pray Robert Cole and his team writes an offer on the property. That's the goal. I haven't even written an offer yet. Because how many times have you guys had a listing and you got offers? And how many times have you gotten offers from agents that haven't even called you to see if you even got the offer in the first place? Let alone called you to show the property. Because now with this thing called showing time, it's taken a lot of the communication out of it with agents. We can just call, set up a showing with a third party, go show the property, and that's it. Now, if you should still do that because that's what they want, but you should call the agent. So you call them then you go show the property, give them feedback if you don't like it, because guess what? You don't want to burn your bridges. Even if your client doesn't like the property, give them feedback because they're probably going to dominate. They probably have another listing in the future you're going to deal with, and they might have a buyer for one of your listings. You want to leave on good terms. You want them to know you're good to work with, right? So leave them feedback. But now if your client does like it, let them know, hey, we saw the property. We're going to be writing an offer. Tell me anything you want, to tell me about the property, okay? What we need to know. So now you've already started setting up a good negotiation. We just went in escrow today with an agent who told me everything I needed to do emphatically to get this property because he goes, that other agent was an bleep. If they're this much of a pain in the butt to deal with, I don't want to deal with them in escrow. And we're not even in escrow yet. Your team's a pleasure to deal with. Your assistant, your showing specialist, great people. I've enjoyed talking to all you guys. You're pleasant, you're funny, you're good to work with. I haven't even worked with this guy yet. Never talked. It was a first conversation because it deals this. We called ahead of time, we showed it, we called after. Communication is going to be the best way to negotiate. I know that sounds so elementary, but guys, it's important. Okay, it's really important. Okay, especially in this market. Okay. See what else I want to tell you. You know what? One of the things when you're negotiating with your own clients, I want to give you a little deal here. So we've established you're going to negotiate with your client, you're going to negotiate with the other agent, and you're going to go negotiate with the other agent's buyer or seller. Now, back up, you're going to also negotiate with your client, like I said, right? I had a deal back in 2008 on Stargaze in Rancho Penasquitos. Friends from mine from church listed their home. Market time back then was 96 days. We were on the market and had their home in escrow and had multiple offers in 36 hours. They became a good negotiator. And I used the fact that property across the street that had an ocean view sold for 50 grand more than everybody thought it would, and use that as a great opportunity to speak to the other agent about, hey, you need to get your offer in quick. Now, one of the things too is when you are negotiating as a listing agent, you want to make sure that you talk to these agents and let them know what's going on. Especially if you're a new agent, you don't have a lot of stuff going on, you can talk to those other agents, right? And one of the things was, I got them so revved up, all the agents showed the property. The first agent that showed the property called me. She was like, Robert, do I have time? Do I have time? I go, for what? Now this is 2009 or 8, the market was crappy. For what? To get my offer in. I go, well, if you hurry up. Because it was like almost 5 o'clock. I'm thinking like if I was a banker, it'd be close, right? If you hurry up, what should I do? Make it strong. What's strong? Go over the top, baby. She goes, okay, I'm gonna do it. I had no offers. But because I talked to her, I told her, hey, this is gonna go quick. The property across the street's 50 grand over. You better get in and make it serious, make it clean. You know, we have a bunch of other shows. We have multiple other showings. We have 2 other showings. So there's 3, but it's multiple, right? She was freaking out. Now she's motivated to get a good offer in. She gets it in. I get the other offers, and they're not nearly where hers are. She went over the top. My clients want to keep pushing. And it was getting to the point when I ran the analysis, I'm like, your property will not appraise for any more than this, okay? And back then, I didn't have in my tool belt no appraisal contingency. It wasn't even, I didn't even think about it. I was, you know, a year and a half in the business out here, right? So I didn't even think about it. So I'm like, we got to stop at some point because most of these properties that don't appraise are falling out of escrow. And that's why it wasn't even in my tool belt to even think about because it wasn't a hot market. So I go, what's going to happen is, you ever heard of buyer remorse, Mr. Seller? Yeah. If they get buyer's remorse, what do you think they're going to do? They can back out. Yeah, what do people do when they get buyer's remorse? They return things, right? They go, yeah. You don't want them to return treat your house like a dress, do you? I go, no. I go, so we should stop. And I had to sell them on stopping. And thank God we did because we barely appraised. We barely appraised. So that's selling your client. I just taught you how to sell the agent, okay? Make a good impression. One of the key things I used to say early on is that, hey, I don't view this as an adversarial relationship, okay? I view this as I have a fiduciary responsibility to my client. You have one to your client, okay? So therefore, we can never disrespect our relationship, but at the same time, we have to get along to adhere to that relationship. Because if you don't get along with me and I don't get along with you, then we're not going to help accomplish their goals, right? Because we're not going to have good communication. So I don't want to be a thorn in your side. I want to be easy to work with. You know, think about if an agent called you like that on a listing. Would you feel good about working with them? Absolutely. You'd be like, this guy or this gal, they're going to be easy to work with. So that when things get tough, they're not going to blame you. It's like an insurance policy, right, guys? So you lay the ground there, okay? Now, you have to, and we're going to talk about in a little bit, figure out what kind of person you're dealing with when it comes to their client. And that's the piece about negotiating with their client through them, because you really are, okay? So here's some negotiating tips, okay? Be professional. I just explained that. Courteous. Hi, this is Robert Cole with Robert Cole & Associates here at Keller Williams Realty. I say that to every agent. Every agent. Even when I say sometimes I think they're going to say, duh, you're an agent, you know? But if I didn't say that, when I say it's Robert, from where? From who? You know, so I don't care their reaction to me. I'm going to be over the top professional. And when I'm done talking to them, I reiterate, hey, I look forward to talking to him. Once again, this is Robert Cole & Associates. Bam, I nail it again. I'm getting in their subconscious mind. I want them to really know me. I want them to feel like they know me. I've gotten agents to know me so good by the time when I'm representing a seller, I've only talked to them 3 times. I'm telling them, come on, you can get them to come up higher. Come on, I know you can. I heard you're a great salesperson. Show me how good you are. Oh, thanks. I know. Come on, get your client up. They want this property. Get them up with some more. They call me back. Guess what? I did it. Did what? I got about 20 grand, baby. This is them telling me about their buyer. I swear to God, I should take this stuff because I could hold it ransom and I wouldn't have to work anymore. If their buyer knew they were saying that and excited that they impressed me, that they got them up, they'd probably be pretty pissed off. You know? But really did a good job for their buyer because they got the offer accepted. But that's the kind of camaraderie that I built with agents. I like to joke around with people. You know what I mean? We have a good time. Professional good time. But it's not an adversarial relationship, okay? Goal is a signed contract. Remember that. Your goal is a signed contract. So when you're dealing with a client, your goal is a signed contract. I can't tell you how many times I've dealt with agents and they say, how'd your appointment go? It was great. So did you get a contract? Yeah, no. No more to say there. Your goal is a signed contract. That's why if you guys view yourself as consultants and not salespeople, you're not going to get signed contracts. If you don't get a signed contract, you can't consult. You can't help. My belief system is that if you don't sign with me, I'm doing you a disservice. I will make you more money. I will save you more money. I will make your experience better. I will take care of you. I will make sure your interests are represented. Do you hear that conviction? I will not leave there unless that damn contract's signed. Sign it. Let's do this. Now, come on. You know, and I get them signed. You know, my belief is so strong about that. Get it signed. That's my job. I cannot do my job unless you sign this contract. Let's get started. Do you believe I can sell your home? Yes. Great. Do you feel I'm the best person for the job? Yes. Do you feel like there's anything that I missed out today? Do you like presentation? No. Great. Sign the contract. Well, and then let the objections come. I don't get a ton of objections. Not to say I don't get any. I do. I'm not perfect 100%, but you know, the conviction's there, man. It's there. It's in that presentation. Presentation's also negotiating. You know, it's negotiating for you because they're judging you in the head. Do I want to deal with them or not? You got a good presentation? They're going to say, I'm signing with this damn guy. Where can I sign? Where can I sign? I've had people stop me in a presentation and say, let me just sign. I'm ready. Good. I'm ready. Let's sign. Where do we go? And I'm not ready. I let them sign so I get it signed. But then I keep going through the presentation it's important because there's things I cover in the listing presentation that if I don't, just because I got them so excited to sign the contract, if I don't go over it all, then they're going to be so excited to call me at all crazy hours of the night. And well, what are you going to put the sign in the yard? What do you do for communication on showings? So I still go through the presentation, but I get the signatures, okay? Being convicted, understanding the contract is your number one goal. You know what I have in my office? I am a salesperson above anything and everything else. That is my number one duty. If I don't sell, I'm not helping my clients out. I'm not helping myself out. I'm not helping my family out. I'm not helping God do what he asked me to do. And that's how people get their goal accomplished. And that's selling real estate. Okay? Got to get it signed. Control what you say. Listen, Zig Ziglar said we're word merchants. He goes, you know what? We're word merchants. And you think about it, we get paid to communicate. You got to control what you say. Think about what you're going to say and how that's going to affect the reaction of the client. Don't just say what's on top of your head. You know what I mean? I used to live in Miami, you know, a lot of, you know, charismatic people that, boom, and I'm Italian and we want to say what we want to say. You got to slow it down a little bit. Don't just say it. Because I can say some things, right? Quick, I'm a New Yorker. Bam. Yeah. But it might make me feel good, but if it doesn't make them feel good, then guess what? I'm not going to feel good because I'm not going to make a sale and I'm not going to help them out, you know? So control what you say, you know. And this is to anyone involved in a transaction, to your client, to the other agent. Control what you're going to say, okay? Refer back to motivation. This is so important. If you don't know why your client wants to buy or they want to sell, that's idiotic. That is not being a good consultant. How can you help someone if you don't know why? How can I help you move if I don't know why you're moving? Because the definition of a good salesperson is helping someone do something that they need to do, but oftentimes have a hard time doing. Now, when they get to the part oftentimes have a hard time doing, and you don't know why they need to do it, then you can't help move them towards what they need to do. Do you follow me? So if all you're doing is telling and you're not asking, that's not going to work. Listen, this is a one-way conversation most of the days. I'm presenting to you. Okay? But when you're engaging with a client, there should be back and forth. God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth. Use them in proportion. Because otherwise you're going to leave a lot of meetings feeling really good. And there's no contract signed. Or really good, I got a listing. I have no idea why they're moving. And guess what? That's going to bite you in the butt later. It really is. We've got to revert back to motivation. We've got to refer back if you want to help them, okay? Listen more than you talk. I just said that. 2 ears and 1 mouth, okay? I'm ahead of myself. Look at that. That's the next point. And don't be attached to the outcome. Guys, if you generate, you don't need to tolerate. Say that. If I generate, I don't need to tolerate.
I don't need it.
No, say it like you mean it.
If I generate, I don't need to tolerate.
You know what? My wife used to get so mad at me because when I first got into business, we had 3 kids at the time, right? In 2005 in Miami. I just picked the best locations in the country to start doing real estate in at the very worst time. Okay? At the very worst time when things are like a lead ball dropping, right? And I get sign calls, right? And I went and go meet the buyers at the property. And we needed the money. And she'd say, idiot, what's the matter with you? I don't get it. I go, what do you mean? The buyer called. They said they like the home, and they want to see it. How are you going to sell it if they don't see it? I want it. If they're not motivated to buy it, if they're not approved to buy it, and if they're trying to waste my time because they want a paint color or back then a wallpaper idea, then that's not going to help us make any money, right? Yeah, she just gets so annoyed with me. Now she understands. Because I wasn't attached to the outcome. What I was attached to is the process. Be attached to the process. Write that down. That is so important. Be attached to the process. Have a process that works. Use it every time, and your success will be huge. Huge. Alan can tell you this. Anybody that works for me can tell you this. I am systematic, process-oriented, same thing for everybody. I had a guy yesterday tell me, I'm leaving tomorrow to go on a client event, go out of town with 2 clients for 4 days, taking my 2 kids with me, right? Now, I had a guy who I've been going after for a listing. He was my limo driver, and he used to always bring me to the airport every time I go to an event or something, so my poor wife didn't have to drive me because these stinking events we go to out of town for training. You get the 5 o'clock in the morning flight or whatever, right? And so at any rate, I'm always asking for business. So I asked this guy enough questions, got in my database, and one thing I found out, he was looking to sell his property. He needed motivation. He couldn't afford his property anymore. He's been living off his equity. He's a limo driver, and what happened in the last few years? Uber came out, right? Kind of put a cramp in his style. So I know the motivation. I know all of it. He needs to downsize. He needs to get out his leaching kids. He needs to get the renters out that aren't paying because they've been renting rooms out of his property. I know everything about this guy. I never went to his house. Well, good question. I ask questions. Question. I can tell him how great I am, what I range, all this crap. I don't get into that. No one cares about how much you know until how much you care, right? So anyways, now I had a listing appointment. I got a listing contract signed with them 2 years ago, year and a half ago, and then he got all crazy and he wanted to back out because he didn't think he couldn't get his financing ready for the purchase of his condo. So we didn't put it on the market. So now he's ready to sell, so he says, right? Yesterday, I call him, and I get him on the phone, and I've been following up with him like crazy. He's so hard to get on the phone. It's probably his bill collector's calling like crazy. And he now wants me to come over to his house today. And he wants me to do a 2-step appointment. He wants this, that, and another. And I'm like, Louis, no, we're going to do 1 step. And this is how it's going to happen. I'm going to go through all the stuff with you. I'm going to send you information at a time about the comps, bring net sheets. You're going to have all the information that you need. Don't worry about that. But I need to be prepared. So I'm going to call you tomorrow, which I did, and I'm going to set an appointment with you for next week when I'm back in town. See, I generate. I don't have to tolerate it because I knew I was teaching this class today. I knew I wanted to get ready for, get my assistant ready for when I leave out of town so she knows how to handle the new listings we have coming on, clients, anything. There's things I need to do, right? And I knew that I wouldn't be prepared and it would just be rushed, and that wouldn't be good for him. It wouldn't be good for me. But most agents would have done what? I'll be there tomorrow. What time? And he's not even ready to make a decision. I know he's not. Because there's some things he's throwing out there to me on the phone. So you generate, you don't have to tolerate. You know, early on in the business, I had a guy come to my office with literally a suitcase of cash in his car, $1 million. And he came when I was in Mira Mesa. I want to go buy a house. And I told him this is how we do it. You do a buyer's consultation. You interview me. I interview you, and you get the opportunity to interview me. See how I always tell people that. I'm going to interview you to see if you're a good fit with the team. See if you're going to be a good fit for the gals and myself. Because I have 5 girls that work with me. Because behind every good man is a good woman, right? Or the other way around, right? Behind every good man is a good woman. That's why I have 5 of them. Great. Right? A great woman. I got my wife. I got Ellen. I got Suzanne. I got Rana. So I tell them I want to make sure you're going to be a good fit to work with the gals, right? And work with myself. Because I don't like anybody giving us a hard time, and we don't want to give you a hard time. And you get to interview me, and at the end of the presentation, we're going to get to decide if we're going to work together. And if it's not a good fit, no big deal. 9 times out of 10, it's always a good fit. Because I get along with mostly everybody. Because you're not a jerk, right? No. Yeah, I didn't think so. You sound like a really nice guy. So now they're selling me, and I only say that to certain people, but now they're selling me at the end of the appointment. Why they should work with me? Because if they don't work with me, then they must be a jerk. Right? I've said that, you know, and I throw that out there. But the deal is this: the guy does the appointment, does everything. He meets me. He didn't want to meet, met with me, brought his kids in, everything, verification of funds. Now he wants to go see this property, but he won't sign a BRE with me. Nope, there's a process. He goes, what do you mean? Don't you trust me? I go, of course, come on. I want to test drive, you know? I go, sir, out of all due respect, I'm not a Honda. No. Either you trust me or you don't. and I am okay with either one. Dude, I need to make my rent payment back then, okay? I needed that money, right? But I said either you trust me or you don't. But if you don't trust me, then this isn't gonna work. Can I tell you why? Why? Because you're not hiring me to find a house for you. You're hiring me to negotiate a contract. And that means that I'm gonna consult you on what to do and not to do. And if you don't trust me and the information that I'm gonna give you, then this won't work. And he said to me, oh, that's ridiculous. He goes, you'll never make it here. You won't make it. You know, you won't do it. I bet you that guy went and bought real estate with people that didn't really care about him. Made some bad choice. That was a bad time to buy. That would have been, if you weren't with the right person, I bet he got burned bad. I hope to God he didn't. I really do. But I made it fine. Now, I built my business like that. Now, my business is a fine-tuned machine. I'm always refining it. But I've always had that philosophy. So I just give you those stories, not to toot my own horn, because it was hard at times. But I'm going to tell you this. When I got into business, I got myself around millionaire real estate agents, guys making millions a year, guys doing big numbers and gals. And I took on their mindset. So I'm going to ask you to take on that mindset right now. I don't care if you're in the business for 1 day or 10 years. Take on that mindset that I don't need to tolerate because I generate. Even if you're not generating much right now. You just do that because that will put you in opportunities. Because guess what? If you're always negotiating with yourself why you're going to make an exception, your business is going to be just flip-floppy. Once you get into deals, there's always curveballs anyways. We're dealing with 32 people on each side of the transaction. You can't run your business where your point of contact, your clients are always so willy-nilly and crazy and asking you stupid things. You know, don't do that, okay? So don't be attached to the outcome. And that goes for now back to the negotiating. When you're throwing the deal out there, don't be attached to that outcome. Even if it's the only buyer that's calling that property with their agent and you're listing, don't act desperate. You gotta be cool. It's like playing poker, man. It's like playing poker. Don't let them see your sweat. Because they'll take advantage of that, won't they? Yeah. You know, yesterday, we went into escrow today on 2 properties. We're selling Normal Heights. And this guy gave us an offer exactly where the seller wanted to be. We've been on the market for a little bit. The first offer we had fell through because they couldn't get their financing together. It's a really weird property. And even though I knew that, I tried pushing this guy 25 grand more. I knew my seller would take where he's at. I go, you're $700,000 cash, no request for repairs, you close in 20 days. Can you get your guy to do it like a little faster, maybe like 5 days? Since the only thing we're waiting on, since we're not waiting on appraisal, we're waiting on a loan, the only thing we're waiting on is him to get off his cash. And he has $13 million in the bank, so I don't know why he wouldn't get off the cash. And we had an appraisal at such and such. We're not trying to get all that, but we are trying to, come in a little bit more. Can you come to 725? You know what? They didn't end up coming to 725, but we came to an agreement. And you know what? Because I wasn't desperate and I sounded strong and secure, they felt like they got a heck of a deal. They were right where they need to be in the first place. They just hit it on the nose. My seller's mother, it's in a trust. She's in the retirement home. She goes, sweetie, take it. Don't scare him away. The neighbor offered 580. She goes, that's just too damn low. The guy, and then she's yelling at her son. He goes, but mom, I have another offer, 700,000. Oh, I'll take that. Take it. Don't counter nothing. We'll take it. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. But the thing is, I'm not attached to the outcome. What I am attached to is the result. I want to get the best for my client. I won't leave any money on the table, and I'm not going to take the easy way out. Okay? Now, common points of negotiation. Price. If we can agree that's a common point, right? Terms. Now, let me give you a little bit of background here with some of these when you're working with your client. Price. If you know your client wants to pay $500 and there's no other offers on the table, don't start at $500. Okay, because if you start at $500 and the property's offering $515 or $520, they're going to come back and counter, and then you're going to look like you're not willing to move it all, right? So one of the things that you want to do is you want to say, okay, well, we're going to write an offer for, $490. I had this happen in North Park because I price watch. I keep track of the market, and when in 2013 the interest rates went up by 0.25% in the fourth quarter, and then the market kind of went for about 3 weeks. Buyers were like, what does this mean? Is the market going to slow down? Is it done? Is it run? Is the price going to dip? So I had buyers, young couple, first-time home buyers, who found a property like listed at range like 515 to 575. They were willing to pay 560 for the property. We agreed we were going to start our offer out at 545. And when I sent them over the offer, 545, 535, when I sent them over the offer, I sent them over for 515. And they said, why did you do that? I thought we agreed on this. I go, I just got thinking about it. No one else is writing an offer on this property right now. Why would we all want to outbid ourselves? And because I had their best interest in mind, I'm a deal junkie. I like to get a good deal, right, from my clients. And I really mean that I'm going to get you the best deal on the property for least amount of time, least amount of hassle. I mean that. We wrote it, we put it in. We end up agreeing on that sale somewhere 530, 535, right where we're going to start. And they sold that property, made a ton of money on that property. But the point is, I knew where the end was, so I knew where I wanted to start. And even though I knew where to start, I realized, hey, there's some opportunity here, so we started a little bit further back, knowing we're going to go up forward. Now, if you already have this conversation with your client, it's easier. You're not sitting here taking 15 days, and if you're dealing with an engineer from Qualcomm, 5 pie charts and spreadsheets to figure out if we're going to counterback or not. You've already determined it's done. Okay, this is our next move. Strategic moves. Sometimes we even have to take that next move, okay? And your clients will respect you. Terms. One of the deals that I think is a total give me term is if you're dealing with deposit, right? If you're dealing with the inspection time frame, these are things that can be manipulated, if your client's willing to get a fast inspection, then put it on there. We'll do it in 10 days. Don't leave it 17 days. You'll look better, right? It's a term, okay? So think of the different terms, okay? Closing cost. Now and when you're reading through your manual, it's going to talk about, let your seller know that the buyers usually get closing costs. Not in this market, they don't. So it depends on the market, right? So if you're in a market that's slow, that's shifted, that's going down, then you should have a conversation with your client. Hey, just want to let you know, you do this as a listing plan. It's called futures facing, right? In this market, don't be surprised if a buyer asks you for credit for closing costs. It's normal. So then when it comes through and they see it, they don't freak out. Why is he asking me for $8,000? $1,000 matter with them. That's a lot of money. He's already ready for it. Not that he likes it anymore, but he's ready. Now, you have that conversation. In this market, you need to have a conversation with the buyer. It is not normal to get closing costs. Because the deal is this. Have you ever heard of like a Monday coach, right? The Sunday game got lost and you got all the people, all the non-coaches saying what they would have done differently. Well, that's everybody at the watering hole at work. When someone's in a transaction, they got all the influences coming from the outside. Oh, that's the closing costs, yeah. When I bought my home, that's what I got. I got $15,000 in closing costs on a $18,000 house. Back in 1920, during the Great Depression, you did, of course. But if you don't debunk this stuff or talk to them about this stuff, then they're going to get these influences, and you're going to be fighting those influences, which you're going to deal with in transactions anyways. So that's why you got to know your client, know their motivation, field through things. Hey, where's this information coming from? It's a buyer's market. I should get a better deal than this. Why won't they take my $500,000 offer and a $600,000 property in Claremont? Huh? That's not on the news. And I know that's not my reality. Who are you hearing this from? Well, I was talking to my grandmother, And then now we can talk to them. I've had to get grandmas on the phone. I don't give a dang. I'll get whoever needs to be educated. I'll here give you free education, okay? And by the way, if you're going to buy a home or sell a home, invest in real estate, who would you use? Do you have an agent you work with? I'll give my database too. Just give you a free seminar, and I'll get you the database, and I'll keep you well informed. So we got the closing date. That's something that can be negotiated, right? Hey, if your lender can close in 28 days, put 28 days on there, right? Or use it as a negotiating tactic where you say 30, and then now when you get a counter, they come back with 4 items. You can't do all of them. Say, hey, we can't do item number 2 and 3, but you know what we'll do? We'll close 4 days early. Wow, 4 days early? To me, as a seller, I don't really care, but that might make a big difference to somebody. Wow, 4 days early. Wow, okay, cool. Conveyances, very important, guys. Just understand, as new agents in here, maybe some old agents, right? The curtains don't convey, and the washer, dryer, and the refrigerator don't come with the property if it doesn't say anything less. Otherwise, you're going to be paying for a lot of washers and dryers and refrigerators. If you tell your clients, oh yeah, that stainless steel's in that great. This is a great price for this property. Look at what you're getting. And then when they don't get it, what happened to my washer, my dryer? Oh, I guess I'm buying you a new one and just want 1/3 of my commission, you know? So make sure you understand that. And if you want them and they're not in part of it, then you need to negotiate for it, okay? Earnest money deposit, that's a give me, dude. In here, it talks about how it's so important for a seller to get a big deposit. It doesn't mean nothing. It means nothing. Because in this state, at least California, you have your due diligence period. You can pretty much back out. If you did not remove all your contingencies, you can pretty much back out at any time. 3 days into the transaction, 10 days into it, 21 days into it, they're not removed. So go for the gusto on that. Push your client to give the biggest deposit possible because it looks good for the seller, even though it doesn't mean anything. It just means they have more money to put down. You know, if I'm going to put $100,000 down in this $400,000 property, give them a $50,000 deposit. Because everybody else is giving them a $4,000 deposit or an $8,000. You're giving $50,000, holy cow. But at the same time, all 4 of those buyers can walk away at the same time. Just a negotiating tactic, not costing your client anything more. It's not putting any more liability on their shoulders. Unless, again, you send them a full contingency proposal, then yeah, then you're kind of out of gas on that one. Now they're going to be in small claims court or going to be meeting with a mediator, arbitrator, or might end up in small claims. So that's just a give me. Repairs, right? I always tell buyers and sellers there's two rounds of negotiating here. The first round is agreeing on purchase price. Okay. The second round is negotiations of inspections. Okay. Very important when you're talking to sellers. Very important because they just got their home in escrow, right? Now they got their home in escrow, and that doesn't erase very well. They got their home in escrow, and let's say they got their home in escrow for $600,000, right? And they know, because you give them a net sheet, what the net is, okay? Maybe that net to them is going to be $722.72. That's what they expect to get. And they made a decision based on that. And when the buyer comes up and now is asking for something else, what do you mean you want $5,000 credit because the AC doesn't work and this doesn't work? Huh? Because it's cutting into this. So if you let them know that this is not a full deal yet, there might be a little openings here, and I let my sellers know you will get a request for repairs. Expect it. It's probably going to be a couple $1,000s. Expect it. It's normal. Now, if it's erroneous garbage, we will deny it. I'm not here just to give your money away, but I'm also here not to be like, try to be like, you know, Fort Knox when it's just not realistic either. That's expected. Just expect it. You have an old house. It's a used home. You're used to certain features and functions that other people might not be okay with. The AC not working, or not be okay that the front door creaks like that, or whatever it is. The fence is leaning over on your neighbor's kid is holding it up. You know, it takes shifts. That's why they have 6 kids. You know, they each spend 2 hours and they keep rotating through the day. A couple shifts and you're good. That'd be a heck of a story, right? But just let them know there's 2 rounds of negotiating, so they're prepared. And then they can get a sigh of relief when we get past the inspections and the appraisal and stuff, okay? Now moving on here. The 3 Ps. I like this. I saw it. I thought it was awesome, okay? Prepare, present, and position. We got to fact find, guys. I'm always fact finding, okay? I'm fact finding when I'm dealing with the offers. How much more can they go up? What terms are they willing to agree on? Blah, 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 blah. I'm always fact finding when I'm trying to get an offer accepted. Who else do you have on the table? You know, where are they at? What are the terms? Fact find, fact find, fact find. When you're negotiating on the purchase price or the request for repairs, now, if you are a listing agent, you want to do this. I send ahead of time the request for repairs to the seller and the report. Excuse me. I don't want to make important what I think is important. I let them look at it. The buyers, when they do an inspection, I say, send me your items of concern. I don't even look at the inspection report yet. Once I get feedback from my buyer and from my seller, right, in these 2 different scenarios, then I will look at the report, and then I'll see, is there anything as a buyer that you might have forgot? Oh, there's a 6-inch crack in the driveway that goes all the way to the house, goes through the living room, and ends in the backyard. Yeah, we might want to get a foundation inspection on this house. You know, so I'm gonna look at it. But I don't want to try to guess what's important for them. Some people don't care about a broken fan. they're like, I can kill us and change them out anyways. But we are going to let us know what they want, and then we're going to get the facts together. So now I'm going to have the report out, and I'm going to be ready now. So if I'm with the seller and I see the request for repairs, I'm going to read over what they're asking for and why they're asking for it. I might call the inspector and ask him some more background. Now I go to the client, and now I have some solid information. Hey, they're asking for these 5 things. 3 of them are erroneous. I think we can get away with not doing them, but these other 2 are serious. They are. See, I talked to the inspector. You know, I called my contractor and asked him about a 6-inch crack in the foundation, if that's an item of concern. He said, probably, you know, whatever, just being facetious. But, you know, is it important that the electric box is triple tapped? Yeah, it's probably a fire hazard there, Mr. Seller. Oh, man, I was trying to save money. Yeah, it burned your house down. But I'm fact finding, right? Then we present. So now we can't present a clean presentation. We do our fact finding, okay? And then we're going to do the last part, position. Position. When you're negotiating that request for repairs or negotiating that, you know, that offer that you're going to come back with, position yourself. It's a game of chess. Just position yourself, okay? So prepare. Know your goal, okay? What does your client want, okay? What's the stopping point? I'm always asking my client, how much you want to pay for this house? How much do you need to have? What's your bottom line when we're negotiating? Things aren't going where we want. And I know from them. And I said, what you say to me, I'm not going to bring back to them. We have a fiduciary obligation to you as your consultant and real estate agent, right? I do. And we have a relationship. I'm not going to dishonor that, but I need to know what's your stopping point. It might be unrealistic. Just like when I ask a seller before I go out and meet with them, what is your bottom line? What price won't you go below? Well, I don't know. You know. So your home is, the average home in your neighborhood is about, you know, let's say it's an $800,000 neighborhood. So if someone came up to you and said they'll give you $600,000, you take it? Absolutely not. How about if they said $750,000? No way. $810,000 cash. I take it tomorrow. Cool. There's your bottom line. You know what I mean? I want to know that because when I'm doing the comps, and if the comps come in at 702, then I know we have a problem, a little issue there, right? So know that, right? Know your client. You know what? Know what kind of style they negotiate. Know what personality. Listen, this is the deal here. You got to know the personality style of your client. And this is not for this class, but I think it's very, very important that we talk about it when we come to negotiating. Because you ever heard that you want to feed someone the way they want to be served or feed them the way they want to be fed? Give them what they want, right? So there's 4 personality styles, okay? Driver, expressive, there's analytical, and there's amiable. So a driver is like your CEO, your person that's like bullet point, right to the point, right? Expressive or influencer, they wear pink shirts and you ask them about themselves and they'll talk for 5 hours. You say 2 words and when you're done from that little conversation, they're like, you know what? Damn, Gary is a great conversationalist. He's really good. He didn't say anything, but what was important to them, what they had to say. You know, they usually see in pictures. They got to get it all out of their head, you know. It's the way they are. Amiable, or someone that's steady, like Mr. Rogers. You know, they just want you to like them. So they might ask you, what do you think about that? Do you like it? What does it matter? I'm thinking as a driver, what does it matter? I'm not living in it. You know, do you like it? But again, no, I think it's, I have to give them my feelings about it. Yeah, I think it's a nice house. You know, I wouldn't be concerned that it's on the 15 freeway, or, you know, or it's great, you know, this is good area because of the location of the schools and the view and this and that. They're seeking approval. They want some of your feedback. Analytical, compliant person. They want facts and figures. What are the last 3 homes sell for? What do the last 3 years look like? Where's the trend going? What's the price per square foot? Well, you know, so you need to know what you're dealing with. You need to know how to serve them. Serve people the way they want to be served. If you like steaks rare and I give it to you well done, are you going to like that steak? Yeah. So I need to serve it the way you want to be served, right? And if you like it rare and I give it to you medium, and you know, go right down the line. So just think, how do they want their steak prepared? Think about it in your head. What's the temperature they like? And then that way, you can prepare the information. For me and the drivers, it's bullet points. For analyticals, it's give them the whole stinking thesaurus and the dictionaries, and give them the internet. So here you go, open. Just read the whole internet and get back to me. You know what I mean? With them, you got to have a stopping point because they will read the internet. You know, you got to give them all the information and say this is all the information there is. You know, with an expressive, you got to talk them through it. An amiable person, you got to talk them through it. See, the amiable and expressives, even though the expressive and the driver are more relational and they're fast-paced people, The driver and the analytical that are on this side are more facts and figures, a little more colder. The amiable down here and the expressive that I showed you, they're more warm. They're more they're more warm and, a little bit more approval, right? Ellen's laughing out there. She's not expressive or anything, So you got to know your client. Think ahead. It's a game of chess, guys. We got to strategically think ahead. Okay, if I do this, what's next? If I do that, what's next? You know what I mean? I do not just go with the gusto half the time if I don't have to. I'm always a little bit in reserve, and I'm getting my client prepared. Hey, listen, when we have properties that don't appraise, I tell my clients in the presentation, the buyer presentation, when we talk about inspection periods, if the property doesn't appraise, these are your options. You can walk away from the property, you can bring money, or we can take it for what the appraisal came in at. I'm always going to ask you every single time, if it doesn't appraise, what are you willing to bring in? If it is a good property, meaning it has good location or good features. If the seller put $100,000 into the kitchen on a $200,000 condo that you're never going to do, that's why they had 30 offers on this property, we might want to give them that extra 5 or 10 grand because it's going to save you so much money. To upgrade that kitchen would be easy 15 or 20,000, and you're not going to get much, right? So I want you to talk about it between your husband and wife, and I'll never go and tell them what you say. And I'm going to first fight for you first to get the price reduced, but I want you to, talk about it, right? And that way, if you keep them thinking ahead, then guess what? Just like I told you before, when we're counter offering and we're starting out at 515, but we know that our max is 550 or 545, when we need to make that move, the decision's already been made. And you're honoring people's decisions. If I tell the driver that, they'll tell me right away, I'll give them 5 grand over asking, that's over the appraisal, that's it. If you tell an analytical, they might, I need to think about it. I got my CPA. I got to see if it's a good financial decision or not. Whatever their process is, give them time and give them space so they don't feel backed up against the wall, okay? Now, set clear expectations. Let your client know if they're crazy. That was my note. I let them know you're nuts. But if you want me to go ask for that, I'll go get a bloody nose for you, no problem. And they usually laugh every time. You guys are a hard audience. But I tell them that. I go, your expectation right now is a little crazy. You can't live here for the next 5 years for free because they got the home over 20 other offers. What do you mean? I've had crazy things. And I just tell them you're nuts. I love you. I think you're great. And I'm not going to tell the buyer this. And I've gotten ridiculous terms accepted because my belief is I'm going to be completely honest with you as my client. But once I turn around and walk this way, if you don't take what my clients say, you are stupid. You're dumb. What do you mean you're not going to replace every outlet in the house and give them a new kitchen and a gold toilet? Are you serious? You are blessed to have our offer. What do you mean? I had 16 other offers. Yeah, but they're all garbage. These are the best people to deal with. I have conviction. I get things move forward. But reality is reality sometimes. And you know what? There's an objection and there's a condition in sales. And the difference is an objection you can overcome. A condition is just a state of fact. It's a fact that is what it is. I lost my job. I'm not going to get a loan anymore, so I can push as hard as I can, but nothing's going to change, right? It's a state of fact that you can't change, right? Sometimes your buyers are going to ask for things that are a condition of the seller. They're just not going to do that. It's stupid, and it probably is stupid. Now, your job is to level with them and let them know that and don't tell them stupid ever. Don't get me wrong. Well, I went to Ignite class, and this guy kept saying you're stupid, and I kept telling my buyer, you're a stupid idiot, you're crazy, and I got fired, and they took their offer off the table. I'm having side talk with them. You know what I mean? It's like when me and my wife say, like we're talking one of our kids, is he a freaking idiot? Are you serious? I would never say that to my kid. That probably would damage him. Like, what the hell was he thinking? It's not what we say. You know what I mean? It's just side talk. We can be real, me and my wife. Then we go in there and say, sweet. Not a good idea to try to jump off the roof with a cape. I'm not going to land very good. But I saw it on YouTube, man. Yeah, these people are idiots on YouTube. I'll say that about them, So tell them if they're crazy. Let them know in a nice way. Be like, listen, I know you really want them to give you a $50,000 credit for the request for repairs because all the light bulbs in the house are off, but probably not going to happen. I'll ask, but it's probably not going to happen. And you really don't want to ask that either. You really want to try to, once you get them to agree that they're being a little bit crazy, get them to lower down whatever they're going to ask for, because whatever they lower down probably is not going to get addressed either, but at least it's going to be easier for them to get that lower down a little bit more until we come to an agreement. Because as you know in Keller Williams, it's about win-win. And every negotiation is a win-win. We need to leave this feeling good. Some buyers or sellers want to just beat the crap out of that person until they feel like they're dying. You know, I like that too, you know, but at the end of the day, if the seller's feeling too beat up and you represent the buyer, they did have other offers, they're just going to cancel and go with call one of those other offers up. Because a good agent's going to keep that conversation in the background, right? Be informed. You know what I mean? Be informed. You need to be informed. When you're representing a buyer, you know, one of the things that I always say when I'm representing a buyer to the listing agent, hey, listen, let me ask you a question. What style is your client? What do you mean? I go, well, there's typically two styles of clients. There's some that they absolutely have to have a certain number. And if they get that number, they're going into escrow, whether it's 1 day on the market or 10 days or 100 days. And then there's another client that this seller has to be on the market for a certain amount of days. Has to be 10 days. On the 10 days, if they had 10 offers or one offer, they're gonna make a decision because they feel like that gave them enough time to get exposure. What type of seller do you have? And I let them tell me. And they tell me, well, my seller has this number and he has to hit that number. Good. So if I give you that number, is there any other condition or terms that I have to put in my offer to get it accepted? No. You give me that, you got it. So if I give you that offer right now, then we'll get this deal done. Yeah, cool. Now I tell my buyer real quick, this is what you have to do. It might be too high for them, and they say, no, we're moving on. Or then we go back to the motivation with my buyer. Why was it important for this house? You wanted your kids to walk to school, right? You wanted a home with all the upgrades, right? You wanted a home with, you know, good curb appeal and good, you know, this, that, and other, right? Yeah. Does this house have it? Yes. Cool. Then what's stopping you from accepting that offer? It's a fair offer, you know? No, and then maybe it's a condition. You can't get over it. You move on, right? One of the reasons we go into escrow so fast is we eliminate so many properties. It's a process of elimination, not qualification, right? So we just eliminate. It's too high for them. But if I find that information out, that, hey, my guy's 10 days, he has to be 10 days, and we're day one, great. So this is what I'm going to do, okay? I'm going to call you for the next 10 days every day. I'm going to let you know we're still interested. You're going to let me know what offers you have coming in, terms, prices. And on the 9th day, at the 11th hour, you're going to let me know what I need to do to help you meet your fiduciary responsibility to your client, which is get them the best offer possible. And I'm going to make a super offer for you. And either my client's willing to do it, or they're going to say, no, it's too much or too high, or the terms are too aggressive. But either way, it's going to save us both time and energy. And if, as most times my clients will do, they give you that offer, you're going to have a great buyer who's going to be easy to work with. How does that sound? You know, so I know what I'm working with. I know what I'm working with, okay? A lot of times what I tell you in the beginning is buyers, agents will write offers and never even call them and talk. If they would just call me, I could have gave them everything like, dude, the last comp was 550. We're not going to, 342 is not going to work. So waste your time. You wasted 10 minutes on DocuSign or an hour writing the offer. You're a new agent, probably took you 3 days to write this offer. You didn't put my name in. You put my name as the seller, and you put the seller as the agent. But anyways, you know, I could have helped you, save you some time. So know the type of person you're dealing with, right? Obey the laws. I don't even need to say anything about that. It's you know what? Breaking the law is not worth it, man. I will never break the law over one transaction. It's not going to happen. Maybe over 10. No, I'm joking. I won't. I'm always going to be fair in dealing. And you have to understand, when you have a contract with your seller, the law is you have fiduciary responsibility to them. Don't go and try to make your life easier by playing two-faced with your client, because it's just yucky. It's not good. They're hiring you to represent them at a high level. Represent them at a high level. Keep their stuff private. If they say that I'll take 510, and you got an offer about 5, you know, you're trying to get, you know, counter at 525, don't tell them, hey, just do 510, we'll get it done. You know, if you think you can get that buyer up more, get the buyer up more. Your client is not a professional like you. They don't do this every day. You know what I mean? They're nervous. They're willing to take a cut because they need to make a transfer. I had the Kaczynskises move to Massachusetts. I told them the home was worth about 515. We had offers right away come in at 515, 525. I negotiated one up, and then I said, let's negotiate more. No, Robert, we'll take it. I go, dude, slow down. We have other offers tomorrow, other showings tomorrow. Let's multiple counter. Let's do 550. Let's waive appraisal contingency up to 25,000. Let's see what happens. Dude, you're gonna scare them. Like, just trust me. Let's do it. They're fine. I already felt the other agent out. Cool. I'll take 550. No, trust me. We did that. I got agreements. I lost 5 offers. I got this one person agreeing to do it. The appraisal came in at 525. They came in with the other 25,000. My client got 550. If I would have done what they asked me to do, I would have lost $25,000 for their family. You know what I mean? Because I am not attached to the outcome, and I am attached to doing the best job for my client. And I know that at the end of the day, when I say that is the best offer we're going to get, I would, if they wouldn't come any higher, then I knew that I did my job. I knew there was some more room in there. I'm a deal junkie, so I want to get in there and fight for it, man. Now, know the documents inside out. The devil is in the details. My gosh, wouldn't it suck? You did all this great negotiating, you got the deal in escrow, and then you find out you're the buyer's agent, the washer and dryer don't convey. You're going to be buying a lot of washer and dryer until you figure that one out. Because the buyer's going to be like, first time home buyer. I just put my, 3% down or my 20% down, and I have my reserves. I didn't put into account, I had to put $3,000 into a new washer and dryer that they had that I want. Guess who's going to be paying for it? You are. And if you don't pay for it, guess what? You're not going to have a really good business. They're going to tell everybody about you, all their friends, family, the person that referred them to you, or their neighbors if you door knocked them, whatever, however they came, and you're not going to get a repeat client. You're going to have to bite one there and take one for the team. But if you know the contracts inside out, not only is it going to save you money and things like that, but it's going to protect your seller. It's going to protect your client. You're going to give them leverage to get out. You know what I mean? I've had so much leverage in deals where we're able to walk in the 11th hour, and I've got sellers do crazy things because they didn't realize that we didn't remove all their contingencies. Or I've had sellers where I'm representing them and the buyer removed all their contingencies, and the buyer walked because they thought they'd get their deposit back, which they didn't, and they lost in small claims court. So my seller got 10 grand because they lost their deposit. So now it made my job that much easier to negotiate the next offer because I was able to use that 10 grand in negotiating the offer. Saying even if you only get 5 of that, we already got 5,000 on the table, and they got 75, So you just got to know the contracts, right? And this is the deal. NAR did a survey in 2014, and 83% of buyers and sellers said negotiating was very important. They thought it was a part of the process when they're hiring an agent. So remember what I asked you at the beginning of this whole presentation. Who views himself as a consultant? Who views himself as a salesperson? If you are dealing with a client, 88.3 out of 10 are going to expect you to be a salesperson. And if your whole pitch is, I'm a consultant, I'll hold your hand, I take care of you. You're not speaking the language that I wanted to hear. No, I want a bulldog. I want you to serve me a rare steak, so I don't want you to be obnoxious. If I'm a reserved person, I want a reserved bulldog. If I'm an energetic person, I want an energetic bulldog. You got to know that. You got to match who they are. But 83% of the people say that they want a salesperson. I didn't make this stuff up. All right. Prepare to negotiate. Be clear on your client's expectations on negotiations, okay? Now, what info do you guys think you still need to know to be a better negotiator? This is a Q&A. What info do you guys need to know to be a good negotiator that you've learned so far? I want to see if you're actually listening.
Ask the question.
Jonathan, what was that?
Ask the question again.
Ask the questions. Yep.
Oh, sorry. No, I was asking you to ask your question again.
Oh.
That was the right answer.
You're soft-spoken, so I thought you were saying ask the questions. So the question was, what info do you still need to know? What info do you need to know to be a good negotiator? Yeah. What type of person you're dealing with? What else?
Motivation for leaving. Why?
Motivation. Why? What else? Your client's goals. Yeah, that goes into motivation, What's important about you buying this home? Why are you moving? Why are you going to displace your whole family to move when you're in a nice house, right? Why are you selling? Where are we doing? Anything else?
Their bottom line or their top, how much they're willing to pay or the rock bottom they're willing to take.
Yeah, it'll help you move along faster. It'll also help you to get out of deals. One of the things I skimmed over before was just knowing when to get out of a deal. Hey, it's not going to go anywhere. My client's not willing to pay that. Okay, present. Now, you'll see the bullet points. I've covered some of these already. In page 17, it says, call the other agent. I already told you guys to do that, didn't I? Call the agent, present to them. Present to them before. Sell them on you before you sell them on your client. Then sell them on your client, and now they're going to fall in love with you and your client. One of the things I always say to them is, hey, listen, I'm sure you have 10 offers on the property. This is a hot market. I'm not even going to say that I'm the best or this much better, but I will tell you I'm going to be the best agent to work with. My client will be the most behaved client because I can tell you one factual thing that you're going to agree with when it comes out of my mouth, and you're not going to doubt me on this. You will not talk to any one of those 10 buyers directly, but you will talk to one of those 10 agents you choose to work with. So I want you to think about who's communicated the best up front, who's been the easiest to work with in the beginning, and that's probably a telltale sign how the rest of the transaction is going to go when we deal with a roof leak, or we deal with request repairs, or we deal with meeting timelines, or we deal with trying to get information. Have we been easy to communicate with? Yeah. Wouldn't you like to know that if you need to get information, that you can get a hold of me or anybody on my team like that? Oh yeah, wouldn't that make your life easier? Because you have to understand, most agents do 3.5 deals a year. You represent 1/3 of their income. There's part-time agents out there. They're trying to toggle their job and this deal. Now, if you're the least path of resistance, who do you think they want to deal with? That right there, they might choose your offer over 10 grand. They might say, you know what, I know we're making 10 grand less on his offer, but man, I'm telling you, they're way easier to work with than other agents. Sure. And I know they're going to be hard to work with. And they're probably going to ask you for 15,000 requests for repairs. So you didn't really gain anything. But Robert and his team, wow, they're polite, they're courteous, they check in, they call. I talked to them 3 times before they even put an offer in. Do you know that all those other offers, they didn't call me, not one of them? I had to call them to let them know I received the offer. Didn't even get a receipt, nothing. You know, the devil's in the details. Pay attention to the nonverbal cues, okay? So when you're talking on the phone to your client or to the agent, or you're meeting with them in person, what are some nonverbal cues? What are some things that you guys can pay attention that are good or bad? I'm with a bunch of consultants, aren't I? Jeez.
I missed the question, I'm sorry.
Nonverbal cues.
Okay.
Clearing the throat, space in between sentences, pauses, time that they're thinking about what you said. You have to read all that into what you're hearing.
That's exactly right. Edward made some good point of view. Check this out. If I'm in an appointment with somebody and I just tell them something, and they're like this, which is open, and then they go lean back, cross everything they can cross. They go in the corner, but probably not really receptive to the information that I just shared with them, right? So you got to be. Now, on the other hand, if they start like that, and then I say something, and then they lean in, now I got their attention. Now they're interested, right? This is not to be manipulative. This is to help your clients out. This is to see, am I communicating with them? Is there something? I'll stop and say, hey, is there something that you're uncomfortable with? I can just see by the way that you're reacting to what I'm saying, you don't like that. Yeah, I feel like that's the best price we can get. Oh, that's a lot of money for us. That payment's going to really be tough for us to make. Okay, then hey, maybe this isn't the right property for you. You know, really, if it's going to be so tight, we'll move on to the next one. And I'm not saying that salesy. I'm saying that to be legit. I've never had one of my clients go to foreclosure. In 12 years in this business, not one of my clients has short sale or foreclosed, ever. Because first of all, when we do a buyer's presentation, make sure the first thing we focus on is you tell the lender what you're comfortable paying a month. You have a conversation with you and your wife or you and your husband before you have a conversation with the lender and talk about what does our budget look like. If you don't have a budget, I'll help you with that. What are we going to allocate every month for our house expense? This is what it should look like percentage-wise. And then you tell them this is what we're comfortable with. This is what we're going to put down. What does that mean for a purchase price? And then let them tell. So I'm asking questions to see where they're at. And it moves things along, okay? So pay attention to those cues. Keep quiet once you present an offer. The first person that talks loses when you're negotiating. When you're with your buyer, your seller, the agent. I'm always quiet. I let them talk. They talk themselves out of deals all the time. They give me information that I couldn't dream for. I couldn't even thought I could pay for it. You didn't just tell me that. Oh my gosh, yes. I'm going to use that against you. You know, keep quiet. I had a client in La Jolla. We just closed a $2.9 million deal. And they had been going out by themselves because they owned a public company that went public and they sold it. And they thought they were great negotiators. And he is good. He's good, no doubt. But it's real estate's a little different. This is, you know, you're dealing with hard sale. And he's going to every open house telling them how much he loves the properties. Greatest view I've ever seen. Wow, this is like my wife is crying in the car right now. She hopes she get the property. And then he tells me, okay, now I went to the open house. Yes, so we want to write an offer on that property. Cool. Yeah, they're asking 3.5. Tell them we'll give them 2.4. Okay, cool. Write an offer, whatever. You know, I'd never write that discrepancy, but I wrote an offer lower. And then I'm trying to be a hard negotiator with the agent. You know what? You know, this is why we're coming in here. You know, the view's decent, but, you know, the one on such and such street's way better. You see how open that view is, unobstructed? And they start laughing. That's not what so-and-so said. Your buyer, when you were at the open house this weekend, said his wife was crying in the car, but she'd never seen such a beautiful view. They couldn't live without this property. You know what I mean? If you have to understand that 80% of all the transactions are done referral based, then there's an 80% chance that the client is a past client, friend, or family referral. They're not going to burn that bridge for you. So if they know this information, they're going to use it against you. So that means if you tell them, hey, come on, accept our offer. They really love it. They died. Their wife's all excited. Come on, get it accepted, please. That's not helping your client out. You know, you got to go in and you got to have a kind of playing chess, playing poker, right? You're just stoic. You're nice. You're professional, but don't give them everything. Don't do that. It's not going to help your client out. Listen carefully to what is important to the other party. So I ask often, what's going to make this deal happen? What's really important to your client? On this list of requests to repair, you know my client's not going to fix all 15 things. So I need to know what is the most important thing on this list. You know? And now I've just said, we're not doing it, but I'm being reasonable. We're going to do something, and I'm being respectful. So when I go to find out what we're going to do, I want to know what's important to your client. And they tell me, okay, yeah, they did ask for a lot. Like we have one right now on a property in Poway. They sent us like a list this long, and the agent already told me because I set him up and said, you know, this property, we're selling it pretty much as is. Because I know, but they're going to ask for a kitchen sink. Okay, well, don't expect us to give you everything, if anything, you know. So you need to have some conversation with your client. I know, it's just a style. So he already knows I'm going to come back to him and say, okay, what? You asked for 100 things. What's your number 1 and 2 things? So I can go to my clients and with a realistic list. So I've already set it up. It's it's not rude, it's not curt, it's not mean. I didn't rub him the wrong way. He almost laughed about it. He's already having a conversation. Try to let them have conversations with their clients in between negotiating to set expectation. So like I'll often say to them, like, you know my client's going to counter you on this. I can tell you that right now. You know, I want to do a deal with you. You're a great agent. I think this would be a really good experience for both of us. And I think your buyers would be great to work with. But you're probably going to have to come up 10 or 20 grand more. So can you start talking to your client about this? So when we counter you, they're not going to be, you know, awestruck. It's going to be expected. So that way, the first reaction that a client has usually like, what the hell? Let them have that. That's fine. You can't deal. There's nothing you can do about that. Just like for yourself, the first reaction you're going to have in your mind when something negative happens is like, what? You can't control the first thought. You control every thought after that. Now, what am I going to do with this, right? And then usually people will calm down, and then they'll be rational. So then when they see the counter come over 25,000 higher, they're not going to freak out, okay? Stay calm and relaxed. Guys, I can't tell you how many times, it's like I feel like I'm playing Dr. Phil with these stinking, these agents. Like, you know, they're freaking out. No wonder why you do 3 deals a year. You know, it's like they're freaking out over like what their client's asking or what we're asking. It's like, chill out. It's okay. We're gonna this deal's going to fall apart. Why? There's a GFI. What? Dude, I'll get it fixed, man. Let's figure this out. Chill out, you know? You got to be the calming force. Now, I'll tell you, too, the reason most deals fall apart is because if you're being that nervous to your client and they don't do this every day, you're freaking them out, dude. Don't tell them everything wrong with the transaction. Don't justify your income by telling them everything wrong with the transaction. I don't do that. Hardly ever will I talk bad about another agent or tell them everything that goes wrong. We keep them out of that. Once in a while, if the agent's being a 12, and they've had communication with my client or what, something I'll have to say, but don't justify your commission or your worth based on drama. Stay relaxed. Like, don't worry, they ask for this. It happens all the time. We'll get through this. We're going to get through this. You know what? This is an opportunity for a solution. That's all it is. It's an opportunity for a solution. I had one of my clients in Seattle said, man, I was at a business mixer there and I was telling them all about you. I was telling them, well, we're dealing with problems in our businesses. You know what my agent tells me? It's an opportunity for a solution. That's all it is. It's an opportunity for a solution. I love that, man. You know, he's so type A. And he goes, this has changed my business because I don't freak out anymore. I go, man, I'm glad I helped you. I should start charging a consulting fee on top of the commission, you know? So stay calm. Focus on your customers' needs, not yours. Don't worry about what's important to you, what's important to them, okay? Give your offers the best chance. We already talked about how to do that. Find out what's important to the seller. Write it in the offer. And if it's not something doable for your buyer, then move on to another property, okay? You can read on page 18 after class nonverbal cues. This is good, you know, positive and negative and face-to-face. I'm gonna actually, this is the answer key, so you don't have it. I'm gonna say these, write them down, because I want to move on from here. Okay. Okay, positive, face-to-face, open gesture, nodding, sitting back, open palms. This may indicate that agreement, understanding is. Yeah, if they're hugging you, they probably are like what you have to say. Negative, closed gestures, crossed arms, things that I said before. You know, lack of eye contact. These may indicate that there's lack of interest or disagreement. On the phone, upbeat, enthusiastic, varied tones that go up and down, swift pace in their speech. They're bought in, they're cool. Monotone, flat voice. Really, that's what they are. Okay. Wow, you know, I don't know if I can take that, you know. An abrupt or especially slow speech. What do you do when you get really bad news, like someone died? Like I just did what I do, like I'm usually back. Really? I'm a fast-paced guy. That's bad news. So if they doing that, don't get all excited like, hey, they just offered you $500,000. Really? Oh my gosh. Isn't that great? You know what they're smelling? Commission breath. You know, that's all they're smelling. That's if this guy or gal's into it for themselves, you know. Welcome, be attentive to that. Like, I know, hey, I know you were hoping to get more than that. You were, weren't you? Yeah, I need more, you know. I need this to make the move. And, you know, that's going to get me this. You know, that's not exciting to them, you know. So then, okay, this is the first round negotiation, just the offer. We can counter him back, guy. You know, but we did talk about that, what you need to get, you know, the buyer doesn't really care about what you need net out of the sale. We've had all these offers on the table. This is the best one so far. So we probably don't want to scare them off. So we're going to counter, but let's not scare them off, you know. And you mimic and match them. Slow it down. If you're all excited about something they're not excited about, what do they think? You're all about yourself, right? You got to get in their tribe. You got to get in their tribe. They'll feel that, okay? Now, if you go here on page 19, I want to run down here. Is it okay if I go a few minutes over? Is anybody getting value from what I'm saying today? Would you guys be mad at me if I went a little bit over? No? Or do you want me to leave right on time? Huh? Take my time? Okay, cool. Because I'll go over a little bit if it's okay with you. It's okay with me. I made some time in my schedule for you guys because I feel like giving back is really important because, you know what, I stood on the shoulders of many giants to get to where I am, asked a lot of questions and learned a lot of stuff and took a lot of people's time. So I'm willing to give back and I don't mind doing it. But I want to be also respectful of your time. So if you want me to end on time, I will, or I'll go over. So, so think about this next one. Page 19, it's a game of chess. Okay, I wrote it down, game of chess. It says identify tactics to use to counter tactics. Check this out, man. This is why I want to spend a little time here, and we're going to go over because this tactic 1, nibbling. Okay, nibbling is where someone will like say, okay, my client will do it if you give us $5,000 credit. Okay, cool. Go to your seller. Can you give a $5,000 credit? We have a roof leak. It's collapsing. You got black mold in your house, and you know your kids were peeing in the corner for the last year. I don't know, something stupid, right? Yeah, I'll give them $5,000. Okay, cool. Now my client, okay, that's fine, but now they want you to also give, they want you to shampoo all the carpets and they want you to paint the house. Go back to your client. And they just keep doing that. You got to do a pushback on them. No. You know, write it down. One of the ways you can stop nibbling from happening is by nibbling back. You know what? We were going to give you $5,000 and do the carpet clean, but now we're just going to give you $5,000. You know what? If you come back tomorrow, we're probably going to give you $2,500. Tell me where you want to start. It's like when a client asks me, what's your commission? Is it 4 or 3%? Is it negotiable? Yeah, 7, 8, 10, whatever you want it to be. We can stop when you want me to stop. No, okay, thanks. You know, I can't talk about commission here, but you kick them back, right? There was an issue that I had on a property, $2 million property that I just sold. And the buyer, I told him, like, if we sell at this price, this is as is, it's it. And he kept coming. He's like, cool, yeah, I'm on board. And then he comes back about one of my clients to pay for, like, these special inspections. I go, dude, inspections are the responsibility of the buyer. We can go with the other buyers if you want. No, I'm cool. We don't have to do anything if you don't want us to. We're being open to hearing what you have. No, I'm good. But if I would have said, oh, sure, we'll pay for it, then he's just going to keep going down that moochy path. You know, it's like that guy your buddy that asked you for $5 today and $10 tomorrow and $20, and you don't say no. you know, and ask for your money back, he's going to keep asking, right? Hot potato, okay? Hot potatoes when other parties try to pass the problem on, right? For example, if a co-op agent tries to pass on all the closing costs to your seller or your buyer, right? I had this happen. It was kind of our fault on something, but they thought we had a covered garage. And I screwed up on it. I'll admit it. We thought it was covered, you know. Really, my assistant kind of screwed up on this deal, but I own the company, so I have to take responsibility for it. And when I went to clarify with them, they said, oh, let me talk to my buyer. That might piss him off. Because he wanted his daughter to be close to the building. I go, well, you know, it's literally the last parking spot across from the last covered spot next to the door. So you're 10 feet further away. You know, I don't know if that's that big of a deal. And it's right next to where the storage is. I don't know. He might get pissed. So she calls me back a day later and says, Robert, I cooled him down. It's got all dramatic with me. I'm like, wow, here it's coming. But he wants you, not the seller, you to pay the $600 to him. Pay $600. He made this number up. And I'm like, oh, really? I'm like, okay. Now, I said, I would love to do that. I would love to do that. I go, but you know what? I thought one step ahead. There's another buyer that wants to pay more than that for the property. And you know what? Either you pay the $600 or we're just going to cancel escrow and we'll take the other offer. Put it back in her lap. She goes, what? I go, did you get that text, by the way, I just sent you? She goes, what text? Oh, yeah. I go, yeah, that's a screenshot of my conversation with the other agent. And in the conversation, because I really kind of made a mistake, I said, is your client still interested in the such and such unit in such and such location and unit with no covered parking? And I like was being facetious about the words. And he laughed, LOL, like, why would you even mention no covered parking? Yeah, he is. And for this price, yes. And I texted that screenshot to her. Now she's like, she went for being a tough negotiator to, please keep us, please. You know, she paid the money. I didn't pay the money. So hot potato, there you go. You can take your potato back. Good guy, bad guy, right? There's always this, like in the car dealership, right? We got good guy, bad guy. Usually it's the slimy little, and I used to sell Ferrari, so I got out of the business because I got sick of being treated bad, right? I was in it for like 2 months. I'm like, dude, I'm trying to give you a good deal on the car. I'm telling you things I shouldn't be telling you, and you're treating me like I'm bad, you know? But usually you have the car guy, right? The sales guy tries to act like the good guy. He's your best friend. But the manager's a jerk, right? So how do we eliminate that, right? We got to either play good cop, bad cop back to them, or go right to the bad cop, or make them both bad cops, right? Call on the bluff, tick them both off, you know? The way that I handle when I'm dealing with a car is I walk right into the manager's office. I go right back there. I just walk right. You can't go in there. Yes, I can. I'm going to spend 30, 40, 50 grand on a car today with you. I'll go wherever the heck I want to go. It's not like I'm going in the back underneath the forklift. And I go to the manager. I go, I don't want to play back and forth all day. This is what I'm willing to pay. What do you need to get out of this car? What's a fair deal? And I stand there. And they're like, oh, shit. You know, I don't want to go. I don't want to get the squares. You know, this is the payment I want. This is all I want to pay. I don't care yet to do it. You know, I actually had one time, I bought a Yukon XL for my wife. We traded in my Jeep Cherokee Limited that we pretty much owned outright. And they told me to give me a cash allowance, okay, of $2,000, right? And when I went to close, they said, okay, we need the $2,000. I go, what do you mean? They go, yeah, 2,000. Didn't your guy tell you that? And I was playing the good cop, bad cop on me. I'm like, no, I told him that I'm not bringing any money in. I'm trading the car. There's equity in the car, and this is what I want my payment to be. No, we need to give us $2,000. I go, let me ask you a question. When you were a kid and you got allowance every week, did you pay your parents money or did they pay you money at the end of the week? He goes, no, my parents paid me. So where in the heck did allowance take a change in definition to where now I'm giving you allowance? And I looked across the street and I go, you know what she did? She did want an Escalade. It was a little bit more, but now that I got to pay $2,000 more that I plan on paying, I'll pay another $3,000 to get that Escalade. And I just looked over it and then I was silent. And he goes, fine. I'll give you the rims and I'll give you the tires. And sorry I even asked you, you know, throw it back on them. You know what I mean? Call them on their game. It says, you can even say, come on, you're not trying to play good cop, bad cop on me, are you? You know, call them on it. Listen, one of the things that I learned a long time ago negotiating, call your sellers, your buyers, and the other agent on their crap. Just say it out loud. Just call it as it is. Just say it. Whatever you're thinking, say it in a nice way. Because if you're thinking it, they're thinking it. You know what I mean? John, you really think that they're going to go to 550 and they have 10 offers on the property in Forest Ranch? Do you honestly think that's going to happen? Don't you think you're being a little ambitious here? Like if you're thinking that, yeah, I know. But that's where we start negotiating. I go, yeah, but if you start too low, they're going to think you're unrealistic. They're probably not even going to respond to you. Do you want that to happen? No. So where are you willing to start? Well, I'll start at 590. Because they just think culturally, there's a lot of things that go into it. So it's important that they think, sometimes they think they have to bargain back and forth 100 times. John, there's not going to be 30 back and forth. So probably be 2 if we're lucky. Maybe only 1. So let's go with your half best foot forward or your whole best foot forward. But let's not go 10 feet back from your best foot, Okay, and then explain to them. Position on page 20. Acknowledge and affirm the common ground, okay? It's important that you acknowledge that we're all on common ground. It says here, where the buyer and the seller are in agreement and are at the same position, then identify which position they may be easily adjusted. There might be just like 1 degree, right? Of like, you need to move someone over, that's it. So like, what do you agree on? What do you agree on? What do you agree on? What do you have a problem with? Because sometimes we get sellers and buyers, and they're like, oh, hell no. Oh, hell no, to response. And then if you identify the oh, hell no, you realize it's just one of the terms was an oh, hell no. That's it. They're okay with the other 10. Find out what that is, okay? Ask what or how questions to better understand the other party's values. What's important? How do you want to see this happen? So how would you want them to reply to your offer? How do you want to see the buyers come back? Well, I want them to come up $5,000. I want them to take off the home warranty. Okay, cool. Hey, Mr. Buyer's agent, can you get your clients to come up $5,000, take off the home warranty? I'm sure. Cool, we're in. Well, I had this happen. I had a deal in North Park where these people have been negotiating 2 years ago. Was the market hot 2 years ago too? For 2 weeks with 2 buyers. For 2 weeks. And I showed the property, and the agent said, I don't know, you're wasting your time. We've been in negotiation. We're almost going to come to agreement. Really? Well, tell me about that. Tell me about that. I asked the question. Well, we've had 2 buyers, and we've been going back and forth for 2 weeks. 2 weeks? Oh, yeah. Wow. You know what that sounds like to me? What? Someone's being very stubborn, or someone's not listening, or someone's not asking the right questions. So if there's 2 weeks of a standoff, what is the deal? Oh, it's price. Oh, it is. Okay. So you guys like $100,000 off, $20,000 off? No, we're $2,000 off. I go $2,000 on a $500,000 house. So let me ask you a question. If I can get you $2,000 more dollars, you get $2,500 right now, would our client get their offer accepted with 20% down? Yeah. And would it mean anything to you that if I just did it right away and I didn't go back and forth and give you a hard time, that you'd probably realize it would be a lot easier to deal with over the next 4 weeks? When you've been dealing with these people for a half of escrow and you're not even in escrow yet? Yeah? Cool. I'll call you back. Hey, Ramon, Tiffany, you guys willing to go to this price? Oh, hell yeah. Cool. I'm going to have a DocuSign over to you in about 20 minutes. Boom. 30 minutes later, we were in escrow. 30 minutes. Now, I don't know how pissed off you would be, but if I was buying a $500,000 house and I lost over $2,000 and I spent 2 weeks of my time every night dreaming and praying I was going to get this house, because you know what that's what the sellers do, or buyers do. I do that, My wife gets all excited, I'm more factual, And, dude, how pissed off would you be? No, I wish I'd love to hear the end of it. And then they see it closed. They see when it closes, they're on Zillow or whatever they're on. They closed for 522. Are you freaking kidding me? They're freaking out. What I do, I ask questions. I ask questions. Tell me more. What's going on? Wow, 2 weeks. Wow. I just keep asking questions, right? Now, positioning in the process, you have to identify who you're dealing with. Negative person, positive person in this process, right? Know when to walk away. I talked about this before. Sometimes you just got to walk away. The fear of loss is a funny thing. Sometimes I've said to somebody, you know what, I had this one client, certain authenticity, the one negotiated the heck out of me. He was the buyer, okay? And he came to me directly for the seller, and he agreed to pay some things, And then at the end, he started telling me he wasn't going to pay him. So I called him on his bluff. I got my TC on the phone because he was telling my TC one thing and then telling me another thing. And I called him up. I conferenced my TC and he didn't know she was on the phone. I said, hey, so-and-so, so I heard you're not willing to pay this anymore. No, well. I go, that's not what's her name said? Right, Rana? Yeah, he said he's not going to pay. He was like, we're like at 11, like we're ready to cross the finish line. He was a cash buyer investor and he trying to pull a fast one on us. And I go, well, then you have a really, really easy decision to make right now. Either A, you're going to move forward and honor what you said you're going to do, or B, you're going to be a liar and not honor what you said you're going to do. We're going to go with one of the other buyers. What would it be? Because I'm backing out. I'm going to tell my sellers to cancel. No, it's cool. Fear of loss. He saw the potential. He knew he could build 4 units on there. I knew that. He's being a jerk. He's just trying to get every penny out of it. But I was willing to walk away from the deal. I knew it was time to walk away. I wasn't going to put my clients at risk like that. So that's the end of what they wanted me to teach you guys on. I'm going to open it up for 5 minutes for Q&A. And I want you guys to think about, while people are asking questions, is there any scenarios that you guys come across in negotiating that you want to hear how I would handle it?
Yeah, a lot of your examples sound like it was when it was a buyer's market. How about right now when it's a seller's market? You can't be coming in so low, a half a step foot forward, and then hoping that it'll go up higher. You'll be able to come back higher. How do you deal with the price?
That's a good question. Yes. So the one example I gave you for Fairmont was a buyer at seller's market, but I was intuitive with where the market. But let's say you're in a hot market Forest Ranch, you have a bunch of offers on the table. You need to find out where those other offers are. Remember I said you need to negotiate with the other agent? This is the time you're negotiating with the other agent, and you're negotiating with the other agent's seller through the other agent by asking good questions to get the good information. So when you bring an offer back, the seller sees and says, yeah, that's what I want. That's what I want. Or they're going to be willing to counteroffer you. Because in this market, how many people have put offers and not been countered? And you lose.
Well, I guess what I meant was, it seems like what you try to do is, they'll say, oh, we want 520, that's what we want. And then you come, but you said, all right, we're not going to offer.
Give me a specific scenario.
Sorry?
Give me a specific scenario. Because when I was talking about expectations, setting expectations for the client, or having your client's best interest. But give me a specific scenario of dealing with the buyer, and I'll give you a specific way I'd handle it.
I'd have to. Well, I think it was in comparison to when you said, oh, they want 520, but you're not going to go up and say 520 to begin with. You're going to say 510, and then you're going to come to 515 or 520.
So even in this market, you're seeing this. If you look at the MLS, there's homes that have been on the market for over a month or two. Has anybody seen this? Because what happens is the market slipping down? Absolutely not. Okay, it's not. It's because market is supply and demand. If you have 4 months or less of inventory, you're in a seller's market. We're in the I-15 corridor, we're 1 month. It could go up 3 times more and we're still in a seller's market. So it's not, this is the deal. If the last homes, so if a seller sees the neighbor sold for $500,000, wow. And then the next neighbor puts their home on the market for $520 and they sell, wow. So then they put their home on the market for $595. And this happened, 60 days ago, and this happened, 40 days ago. And they think their property just went up $75,000 in a month or so. Well, maybe they're just over ambitious with what they're going to get, right? So they're on the market now for 75 days. And now, meanwhile, this guy was on the market for 6 days. This guy was on the market for 3 days. And they're on the market for 75 days. That's where maybe you're going to come in. Like, we're going to negotiate now. This home now really is worth maybe $550, $535. It just depends on where the market is and how many days it's been. But we're going to come in low with them. We're not going to come in that high. It's crazy. We don't have any competition. No one, listen, they're their highest bidder. Do you know how we know that? No one's bought their home yet. So that's where we'll come in like that, strategically. Or I just had it happen on the property we wanted escrow on, and there was multiple offers. The agent straight up told me they're going to counter you 3 times. So then I held back. I knew I was going to have 3 times. I talked, I asked questions. We knew there was 3 times. So we didn't come in on full shot. So then when we came in at the end, we looked like shining angels, but if we would have come in that in the beginning, we wouldn't have got it. you're going to realize that real estate is not static. It is fluid. Everything changes. You know what I mean? They might pick your offer because they like the terms better. This guy's going to close in 20 days and he has more money in the bank. You need to find out what's important. What's important to your seller? What kind of seller do you have? There's usually two types of sellers. Remember when I said that? Is it price? Is it time? Do they have a certain amount of time they need to be on the market, or they have a certain price they need to get, and once they get it, they're done? Let me know. And then they'll give you this information. Then you're going to know how to go communicate with your client to craft an offer. Not every property is for every client. They might see that property as a $700,000 property, but it's going to sell for $750,000, and it's out of their budget. It's out of their budget. The view is great, but the kitchen's so old they need to redo the kitchen, the bathrooms, everything. They don't have the money, so it's not going to work. The best thing you do as an agent for them is get them that information up front so they don't have to waste 3 nights, sleepless nights, thinking they really had a chance to get in the property. Does that make sense? Other questions? Oh, you're welcome.
Another question. Back to your home on Stargazer that you mentioned.
Yeah.
You did, so you got the other agent all excited. Have you ever, and is it a common thing to circularly ruin your own market with your buyer or seller that you have gotten, you've created this fervor? It comes back to haunt you from the person you're representing, and they're all of a sudden they're caught up in it too, and they're like, well, look what's going on. I've got to wait.
I see what you're saying by raising the market.
By raising, yeah, you're creating this for this one person, make them all excited, but it affects the person you're representing also. They get caught up in it as well.
So do you know what you know what a home's worth? Anybody?
What a buyer's market.
What a willing and able buyers want to pay for it, right? So I could get people as excited as all get out. But if not everybody's committed or see the value, it won't go up. So if they're willing to pay that, that's what that home's worth. For whatever reason, it's worth that much money right now. So I've not, for myself, ever shot myself in the foot. You know what I mean? Ever. You know, I've always traditionally, in every area that I sell a home, like 9 out of 10 times, I get the most money that by a long shot that the last home sold for, and we rock and roll. Like I just did that in an area, the last home sold for $524. I got $610,000 and $575,000. The last home was or $640, $540's last home sold for was the largest model, and I got $575 for the smallest model. I'm not worried about it. What I was paid to do is get the most money for the property. Now, if they want to buy back in their neighborhood, well, they're going to have to buy back their house for more money than they just paid. And if I have a buyer for that neighborhood, then that's awesome, because now that neighborhood has so much demand. What do you want when you buy a home? I always tell buyers this: when you're in a negotiating war and a buyer is kind of timid, I don't want to be a part of this. Well, let me ask you a question, Mr. Buyer. When you go to sell your home 5 years from now, because on average you're going to sell about every 3 to 7 years, so on average 5 years, do you want a home that you just bought that you were the only offer on it? Or do you want a home that's in a location, in an area that it has high demand? Because if it has high demand tomorrow, even if the market's softer, and now there's 20 offers today, maybe there's only going to be 5 offers later, if there's only 1 offer on it, say in the hottest market in U.S. history, what do you think it's going to be like when you need to get out in a softer market? Where do you want to be? And the good news, too, is if you're bidding right now against all these people, you're walking into that this property, supply and demand, there's a high demand, the property's going to be worth more money in a few months from now, right? It's a high probability for that. But I don't want you buying this home to try to get rich. I want you to buy this home because it's a good buy for you, not only for price, location, for your family's needs, but there's a demand now, and there's going to be a demand probably later. This is an established neighborhood. This isn't a brand new build. It's a 50-year-old home. Yeah, I didn't think about it that way. Okay, let's go. Let's rock and roll. Now you just gave them that confidence to make that offer.
What do you do in the case where you double end?
What do I do on the case specifically? Like, how do I manage it?
How do you try to get the lowest and the highest?
I just want to sell to my person to make more money. That's it. No, I'm joking. What I do there is I'm very transparent to all parties. I'm hired by the seller to get the most money for the property. I'm pretty sure responsibility for that. You're going to work through me, and I need to take care of your needs too. So what we're going to do is we're going to counter all the buyers. We're going to get the highest possible offer. We're going to counter them again. And then I'm going to get permission from the seller to tell the buyer what the highest offer we have is, and they need to match or beat it. I double in a good amount of properties every year, and I've never doubled in a property and felt bad about it, ever. Because we've put it on the market, we've exposed it, we've countered the offers.
You expose it, you don't off market.
Nope. And when we do coming soons, or we put it on before and I get people writing offers, like I had one just in Claremont where the neighbor wanted to buy it, She was adamant, cash before it's market. I want to buy it. I want to buy it. I want to buy it. I said, I'd love to. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna let you know what the highest offer get. You can match or beat it. She goes, oh wow, that's too rich for my blood. Wow, but she referred me to the person that bought it, and I still double-ended it because I did the right thing. Her idea was investment. His idea was end user. He could buy for more than she could. He knew what he had to do. You know, that's what I did. Anybody else? At the end of the day, oh, and then I'll answer your last question. We're hired to take care of our clients. And if you are transactionally driven, you will not be in this business very long. If you are committed to excellent customer service and helping people get what they want, Zig Ziglar says if you help enough people get what they want in life, you can have anything you want. Sometimes it's going to hurt walking away from deals. But if they're not right for the person that hired you, would you do that to your mom or dad, or would you want someone to do that to your mom or dad? If you don't like your mom or dad, would you do that to someone else you like? You know what I mean? Go on.
So you mentioned, talking to the agent before you put in an offer. So in an area or a property that is overpriced for this particular house, like what type of strategies would you use to negotiate the best offer? Like obviously you talk to the agent, you'd maybe compare it to other homes in the area. What other strategies do you use to really get the bottom line from?
So I had a deal in La Jolla, and the property was in escrow 3 other times, and it was at 3.2, 3.4, 3.3, appraised at 3.25, and I wrote an offer all cash for $2.9 million. Told her we're going to close in 14 days, and wow, the seller had this, had that. I go, listen, it's great that they had, but that doesn't pay the bills. That doesn't. Did they get any money in their pocket? No. And I go, obviously there's something about the house that's not allowing people to move all the way forward. Well, this person, they just couldn't get their money together. And this person wanted to do a carryback. And this person, I go, you know why that is? Because in your market, with that view, you're in the bottom end of the market. These are where the buyers that are entry-level buyers for this part of La Jolla are coming in. They're stretching themselves. So of course they need a carryback. They're not qualified. Of course they can't get a loan. They're not qualified. Of course they can't get their home sold, so it didn't sell, and that's why they couldn't buy this home. They're not qualified to buy the home. You haven't had qualified buyers. My guy has enough money in the bank to buy cash, which in my books makes him overqualified. So therefore, we will go the distance, or you can continue to keep your home on the market for month after month after month, because you're at what, 70 days right now, and you're going to become what's called a stale listing. And when you become a stale listing, your price is going to continue to decline. So you can take this price right now and be done with this thing, or you can continue to agitate your client. What would you like to do? I like that. Okay. So she went and sold them, and then we ended up turning it into a finance offer anyways. And we got it done. We're so close early, but we got it done. So you just got to speak truth. Like what I said, this is what I was thinking, and I just said it in a very nice, respectful way. And she was all down with it. Cool. Any other questions before I sign off? Good. Did you guys find value in this?
Yes.
Was it helpful? Awesome. Cool. Well, I'm glad to serve. I'm glad you guys came, and I hope you serve your clients at a higher level, which will help you guys, succeed at a higher level in the business. All right? All right. God bless you guys. Awesome. How'd you guys like that?
Oh my God. Wow.
I'll have to rewatch it like that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's right. You can just go on.
We have
Wow.
The one right there.
Yeah,
I like
okay.
the energy.
Yeah, he has great energy. You can see why he's a great agent. He's a top agent. He is very sharp. Yeah, I think you can see why he's one of my favorite people at the office. Obviously, high energy, high integrity guy too. Very high integrity. Any ahas before we move on? Kind of about. Well, I mean,
I love how he kept saying how basically a happy or an informed client is a happy client. Like if you disarm people by telling them what may go wrong, they're not going to come and be upset.
Yep.
You know?
Absolutely right. And getting that information up front, setting expectations.
Yeah. And he reiterated that a few times in different ways, and
Yep.
It's pretty awesome. And that's actually something that I can say with our businesses that's what we do. And so true.
Yep.
But we're talking about, $50 shirt on $1 million house. So,
Yep.
but still, people get upset if we can't, if the stain may be set in. If we tell them that ahead of time, then they're not mad at us when they come back and sorry, the stain's just permanent.
And then if you got it out, they're usually pretty thrilled.
Oh, then
right?
they're super thrilled. Yeah. What is it? Under promise and over deliver.
Under promise, over deliver. Absolutely. And that's the same thing, right? Even when you was talking about the negotiating, right?
Mm-hmm.
You would even let the other agent know. You'd set expectations for that agent.
Right.
Hey, like I'll go talk to my person, but you probably have to let your person know. So he's already like pre-negotiating with the other side, which is really smart.
Yeah.
And what I love what he does, and we do the same thing, is like I literally get such a thrill out of knowing my buyer or my seller will do this price, and I get way more for them. Or for my buyer, I negotiate even less, right? Those are the things that, like, if you're really a great negotiator, you're gonna love doing. It's not just about getting the deal through, because you can get the deal through, but it's like when they tell you that you must have permission now to really get after it,
Yeah.
So, any other ahas? I know you gotta have one. Just give me one.
Where should we start?
One nugget.
Asking what type of seller, price or time.
Yeah.
The game of mindset.
Totally a game of mindset, right? And then that seller, right? I mean, that's about just the information, because the best negotiators have the best information, right? Like people think negotiating is just being like a total, exactly. I'm just trying to the hard dog here. They're just thinking it's like, I'm just gonna like lowball, but that actually doesn't really get the job done a lot of times. It's being savvy, having the sales scripts, right, to be able to know how to deal with things. So prepare for your next class. Remember to do the mission 11. So go into Ignite, check it out, prepare, get your call list ready for next class, get your notes ready. In terms of other points of the negotiation, what were some of the other things that you guys saw as great points that he mentioned?
What I got out of my question is to leverage the playing field, like leverage your use case, because he's trying to give real world examples, or he's trying to get questions from real world examples. And I think that's the way to do it, because he'd always explain things with stories. And so yeah, he was just leveraging, what it was for that story, because every deal is different. So just being in the deal, knowing that not every deal is going to be the same, being in the deal, going back to their needs, their wants, and addressing things that way. So mine was just kind of like being in the game was like a big takeaway from it.
Totally. I like what you said, every deal is different. Right? And I think he kind of said the same thing when Jonathan asked the question about the, in a seller's market, how do you deal with it? And the truth is every house is different, right? Some houses are going to have more wiggle room, some are going to have less. If it has 30 offers on it, chances are you're not going to nickel and dime it. If it's been on the market for 90 days, the market's already saying it's overpriced. They are their highest bidder. Or like the other one, right? When you got the information that it had 3 other people in escrow, none of them went through. That has to go. Remember we said what a willing and able buyer can do. Somebody has to actually be able to do it, not just willing. Any other points? Communication.
Figuring it out loud, like you gave an example where the difference was like $2,000. They would have done the deal. If he didn't call and communicate and ask questions, clients would have lost that deal.
Awesome.
Listen more than you talk.
Yeah.
We have 2 ears and 1 mouth.
That was great.
Let them talk themselves.
Totally true.
Yeah.
You're usually the first one to speak. Lose the negotiation.
Mm-hmm.
So don't be uncomfortable with silence. Most people are very uncomfortable with silence. So sometimes you just give yourself a pause, like a 5-second pause, and people will cough up in it and say more. Absolutely. All right. Well, prepare for the next class Friday. We'll see you guys here Friday. Enjoy.